All right. All right. Well, let's see if we get a few people in and get our chat on. Right. I'll put up my stream, even though technically it's going to go dark in an hour or so, but we'll put it up. Hey, Dave, what's going on? Sorry about that. I'm just getting things up and running here. There we go. Something to look at while we chat. How's it going? All right, let's get the link set up. Yeah, it's coming around. If you take a look at that rock on the right, on the whole front, it's actually no more algae, so it'll take a little bit. It will come around. It's not looking too bad. I could probably change the camera angle a little bit, but I'll leave it. It's just something to look at instead of just seeing our little flashing things. All right. Oh, I feel a little better. Hey, Dave's in the chat.
What's up?
Not much, brother. What's going on?
Nothing. Just planning some more upgrades. That's about it.
Yeah, tell me about it, eh?
I got.
Oh, go ahead. You were what?
If I spend any more money this week, I think the wife's gonna be single.
Yeah, probably. I like I said you weren't on last night, but I was not feeling well. I streamed for a little bit, but that move over the course of a month has just worn the living crap right out of me. So, little under the weather, nothing huge, but just under the weather. And I went out today, and I picked up 2 containers of Chemi Pure Blue. And I'm like, yeah, nice. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get these on there, and I went to bed. I'm like, no, I just don't have it because it's not that hard, but you still have to do that stuff right. I don't want to screw around with my tanks, right? So,
yeah.
but tomorrow, hopefully, because streaming's great, but it's very lazy. It's very easy to do a stream. Click, 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 away you go. But it's not cleaning up my tank. It's not, doing the work I should be doing, and it's not making a video that has maybe a little more direct information.
Right.
So that's all. It's just I know why I'm doing it, and it's because I don't feel well.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I like streaming because that way I get to interact with the people watching too. I almost hit 100 subscribers. I'm all thrilled. I'm like 95. Oh my god!
Wow.
There's 95 people that give a crap what I'm doing. That's very nice. I'm very flattered.
Yeah, I watched the replay. I think it was of earlier today where you guys were talking about ick.
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh, I'd have loved to be in that conversation.
Well, it's that's a vicious debate, and it's like I don't get where the debate is, right? People get on and they're like, "Oh, I use Cordon Ick Attack, and I just do it in my reef tank," and and they're going, and I'm like, "There's no scientific basis for any of that product."
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not that I'm against it. If you want to play the support game and do it, that's fine. I'm not going to poo-poo you for it. But don't say it kills ick. You have not killed the ick. You supported the fish to the point where it can deal with it. You know what I mean? Like the fish isn't getting defeated by the parasite. Now,
right.
That's where the argument starts. And it's like, well, then it's dead. No, it isn't. Right? He could be in his gill. He could be anywhere you can't see it and still surviving. And it's just, it's not an if, it's a when it comes back.
Right.
I've talked at length about my experience, my first year in the hobby. Surprisingly, I'm still in the hobby from it 9 months of having to run fallow tanks and deal with ick.
Yeah.
Is that a dog playing with a chew toy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's usually about this time of night till about 10:30. That's all he does.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that. Trust me, my wife's mad and amused when I was at the pet store. So I figure I bought stuff for the fish. I'll buy something for the cats. And I bought 3 catnip balls. So they're play balls, stuff with catnip. I have never given my cats catnip.
Uh-oh.
So my 3 cats acted like 3 of the biggest stoners you've ever seen in your life. They're all laying on the floor, rubbing their faces on these cat balls, right? It was just the most amusing thing to like, okay. And then all of a sudden, then the Daytona 500 started around the house.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The yeah.
It's like cat crack.
Oh, Tim. So it wasn't what somebody was using. The topic of ick came up because Saltwater Jeff has ick. And he wanted an opinion. And I said, well, my opinion is this. There's 2 ways you can go about it. You can support the fish and let them work their way through the parasite. But that means that it's going to stay in your system, right? You can't say it won't, right? And he said, well, I don't know how I got it because I quarantined. And I said, okay, did you add any recent additions? And, fish, corals, what? Right? And he goes, oh, I added 50 snails. I said, then there's probably a good chance there was an ick cyst on one of the snail shells.
Right.
Right? Because that's the trick. This is the rub, is that I went nuts getting rid of ick. And then realized when, I did, my research and diligence on it was it doesn't need substrate or rock. It can be a crab shell. It can be, a coral's plug frag. It can be anything like that. It can show up. So now the quarantine process becomes more involved for people. So we can't put inverts and corals into the QT tanks we dose copper. Now you need another tank and another, yada, yada, yada. So I said, it's a calculated risk when you're doing it, because even dipping a coral does not kill this thing. You cannot kill this thing till it's free swimming.
Right.
Yeah, you got it, Tim. It come in anything, right? Anything you stick in that tank. So anyway, and I said to him, so you can support the fish and just hope that you get to a homeostasis point where it's there, but it's not that serious and the fish can deal with it. Or, which is the way I dealt with it, is you're going to get all the fish out of the tank you possibly can, put them into quarantine, do what you got to do, dose them, and then you got to follow that tank for somewhere between 72 and 90 days. Because there was a lot of debates when I was reading up on it about stronger strains of ick that could go much longer in their hibernation stage when they realize they don't get food. Some can not necessarily resist, but they can go almost into like a hibernetic state and hang around waiting for food. So
See, I
go ahead.
read a research paper, and I don't remember who wrote it, but they was talking about ick, and that's why I was reading it. And they was saying that some of the strains of ick can become resistant to copper.
Yep. Yeah, they call it almost like super ick, they were calling it. Which was almost funny. It's like, well, I don't think it's super. But,
super pain in the butt, but
super pain in the ass. Yeah, it's one of those things, right? You got to fallow. Yeah, and the thing is that debate comes up, and man, I've disagreed with some major players on the market about that. And it's like, if you have the water volume, I can see ick running its course because you have 400, 500, 600 gallons of water plus your sump. There's a chance that you can support your way through it and never see it show up again, outside of something new coming into the tank.
right.
But us with 20, 40, 60, 100-gallon tank, no, not a chance, man. You're talking about it only takes 2 to create 200.
And it depends on the degree of the ick that the fish has too.
Mm-hmm.
If you can catch it early enough. And the one thing that I always found interesting that I learned at an early start, what we think is ick, you actually don't see ick. We're just seeing the cyst that's left over.
You got it.
And everybody says, "Oh, look, my fish has ick." No, it had it, but it's no longer there that you can see unless it's in its gills.
You got it, and it's coming again, if not already there. You know what I mean? It really depends, because I think the minimum period's 3 days, the incubation period.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's really, really insane to deal with. So, and Tim, you got it minimum 6 weeks, and I did that, and I got it again. So I did 4 weeks. I did 6 weeks, and then I finally said nope, and I just went for the full 3 months.
I was taught. I was taught get the fish out, start them off with the lower dose of copper, see how they react.
Yep.
And then if you have to bump the copper up, do it slowly.
Yep.
Leave everything out of the tank for heck, even 3 months or 6 months.
Yep. Yeah. The longer you can stand it, the better. Right. But do the minimums, right? And you hear this like info about ick. Ick's a bastard. The name alone should scare the shit out of you. It's called cryptocarian irritants. Right.
Yeah. It's a parasite.
It's a parasite. Its whole job is to, attack a fish. Right now in the wild, a fish might see ick once in its life, and it'll be one, and it will fall off, and it will never have it again. Whereas in our enclosed system, we've all seen the pictures where you just stand there and you can hear the psycho thing in the background. Yeah. Because this poor fish is just under attack. And that's, I don't even want to get into it tonight because, man, it can lead to some discussions that nobody wants to get into because you're just standing there. There's you're stupid. You know what I mean? And it's not. It is. I am not against support of fish, and you want to do it that way, but your success will vary, wildly, right?
Well, I've always looked at it, and I don't want to debate this, and everybody has their own method, and if it works for you, by God, do it. I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong.
Nope.
But I've had people say, well, I've used this or I've used that. If you want to call it elixir, I don't want to use that term, but I put this in and it cured it. Well, what we got to remember is everything we put in has an adverse reaction somewhere.
Yep. Well, have you ever looked at what's in Cordon Ick Attack or Ick X?
No, I've never even looked at this stuff.
So they're supposedly reef safe, right? Well, if you look at what the main ingredient is, it's formaldehyde.
Oh, yeah, that's real safe.
Okay, so let's talk about 3% formaldehyde in a solution, right? So, yeah, it won't kill the coral, but man, all the invertebrates are going to be super effing unhappy. You know what I mean? There's just no way out of it because that's going to directly attack them.
Exactly.
Right? So, I try, and this is what I tell people is like, you can't say you cured it. You supported the fish through it. If the fish are still in the tank where the ick has the chance to insist, that's all you're doing. You're just playing a waiting game, right? Now, can you say 3 years from now and you haven't had ick since? I could say I'd agree at that point. You don't have ick in the tank. Because I do not agree with somebody. It was Tom, My Saltwater Journey. Like, there's now research saying that some tangs, it lives in their gut. They poop it out, and I'm sitting there going, "What?" So I read it, and I'm like, "Well, that's not necessarily what it's saying, but it is saying that there's a possibility that a fish that's been attacked may have the ability to carry the parasite in a I forget what they called it. I'm not a scientist, but that seems very likely that it could be. But until there's more proof, I wouldn't sit there and say, no, all tangs have ick. That's not necessarily the case. I have a tang in there right now, and I know he doesn't have ick. I'm absolutely positive he doesn't.
Yeah. Mine don't. Yeah. And the other thing I was taught too about copper is you want to watch how long you actually leave them in the copper, because copper is very, very bad for them.
Oh, I learned the hard way. I killed I killed my first coral beauty by accident. Angelfish. I ramped the copper right up to 0.22 right away, and I killed it, and it killed my wrasse. And nobody told me any better, right? And I read everything. Nothing said to go slow. And then finally, a local fish store guy said, "Listen, when you go to start your round again, start it off at half dose or less, and then ramp it up slow, right? Because some fish don't react so well to it, right?" And I went, "Oh, nobody ever told you that, and it doesn't say that on the bottle, does it?"
No. I'm going to hop off chat here for a little bit so we can have a family dinner.
Well, you go right ahead, man.
And I'm going to join you guys again.
Sounds good. I'll be here. I'm going to do probably a couple hours or more tonight. So.
Okay.
Oh, sounds good.
I'll be back.
Sounds good. All right. All right. Bye. Later. No, Tim, I don't think there's worse things to have, but ick seems to be the most prevalent, right? Like, marine velvet, you hear about it occasionally. And unfortunately, marine velvet, it came in on your fish. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That is a fish disease. Its life cycle, they know nothing about, but that's the assumption anyway. And the other one would be Brooklynella, right? Clownfish disease. And I've dealt with that. My naked clowns I had in my previous 20, my friend's 2 Darwins he bought had it. So there was Brooklynella obviously made its rounds at Sea and Reef. If you look them up, they're out of Maine. His did not make it. And his pistol shrimp actually took the male as he was trying to fight it off. I guess he was looking at the tank. The female had succumbed to it, and the male was succumbing. And the pistol shrimp came out, snapped him, and then grabbed him and ate him. So, he didn't have a chance at that point. But I got lucky and actually pulled my naked clowns out of the tank, and I could see the cloud in one eye. And dealt with it with ICX because it's full of formaldehyde. I couldn't get formalin, which would be the better way to do it, right? Yeah, well, tangs are pretty resilient bloody fish. In all honesty, they really are. And clowns are too. That's why clownfish disease makes you feel bad, because it's one of those ones they don't deal with it very well. They have a real issue with it. So it obviously attacks them in a way that they just can't fight it off. But no, I treated my fish, and that's one of those things I learned how to deal with that. And wow, what a hobby. You're dealing with all these problems, and it is one thing that can take you right the hell out of the hobby, man. I've seen more people quit because they got ick like 2 or 3 times, but then you look at how they dealt with it, and it's like, well, that's why, right? If you had a foul at your tank the first time, you would have done 3 months. The fish would have been treated. What losses you took. And then when you put them back in the tank, you're giving them a nice clean start, if not shorten their lives with the copper, because that's automatically true as well. Copper is going to shorten a fish's life. But, clownfish are living 14, 20 years in people's tanks. So if you took a couple years off his life, well, that's okay. It sucks, but it's okay. Tim, where are you at in the world again? Are you in Oregon? Is it you? God, I always forget that stuff. Yeah, Ick's a bastard, man. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Ick is probably the most prevalent problem in the hobby. I don't have to quarantine my fish as much anymore because the fella I buy through 90% of the time. You're in Texas. That's right. We've all almost quit. Coral almost made me quit. I just got tired of dealing with all the issues trying to keep coral alive. And everyone's like, oh, it's easy. And it's like, it might be for you there, buddy, but it ain't for me. Whatever issue I went through on my 120, I mean, that almost wiped all this coral in this 20 out. I couldn't tell you what it was, but holy crap. And then that purple maroon colored coralline that I got, so I will call it red coralline, was so invasive that if any part of the skeleton was exposed on the coral, and it would grow right up to the edge of the coral, like so right to the edge of the skeleton. So it was irritating it. It would pull back and then whoop, it work its way right over top. So, you know, say all you want about wanting coralline in your tank. I didn't want it anymore. But, you know, the tank's bouncing back now. The fish are doing good in that system. The fish are doing good in this system. So, and I'm done this system stocked. You can see that Bengay Cardinal in the bottom right corner floating around under the rock there. He's the latest addition. And there's another tip that I try to give people. When you're buying your fish through your LFS, and he says he's quarantined your fish. Yes, yeah, I know my guy did. But now he's in the main, you know, this system here with these other fish. I don't just look at him. I look at every other fish. You know what I mean? That's where people kind of screw up. It's like, look at the other fish. Are they healthy? Do they have marks on them? Do they blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So, and if I ask him to, he'll separate my fish too. Now, he can't obviously do that for every last fish, but, you know, he's a pretty good guy. Oh, starting to feel a little better. Jesus. Oh, yeah, that's... Oh, were you in listening? You must have been listening. I didn't see you talking, so... Yeah, he got lucky. I'm very happy that he survived my my stupidity. My laziness, as it were. Yeah. Urchin's in there munching away. So my big thing will be tomorrow. When I get up and start my day, whether it's, you know, before the wife goes to work or not, I'm going to go out and get myself a nice thick, soft brass brush. And I'm going to do the rock on the left there. And yeah, I'm so glad he made it. He's a cute fish. Wife loves him to death, right? So, you know, I figure a wrasse, 2 clowns, a Bengay Cardinal, a Lawnmower Blenny. Possibly she wants a ruby red scooter. That's going to wait until I start to see life in that tank in a big way, the pods. So then I'll debate that. But we'll see. Because I'm just not into making them starve. Although I've seen ruby reds take food, I don't like to chance it. I'd rather both options be there for that fish. So, who else is in here with me? I know Tim's here. I know Angelic is in and out. That'll be fine. Who else we got in the chat tonight? Maybe I'm in the mood to argue about Ick. No, I'm not in the mood. I don't. There's so many ways to skin a cat, but it's just there's only one for sure in this hobby with Ick. Yeah. Liam Murphy Battersby. Hey, how you doing there, Lee or Mandy, whichever one it may be? Welcome to the chat. Make some coffee, buddy. I might get the wife to make... No, I better make it. She's been making lousy coffee lately. And she'll even tell you that. Don't forget the thumbs up. I do appreciate them. That always helps out. I'm trying to decide if I can do something when I hit 100 subscribers. I'm really surprised I got that far. You got any questions, Mandy, or just checking out the tank, or are you lurking, as they call it, I guess? That's going to be a big day tomorrow. Can't wait. I'll just do it and get it done. That algae you see on the left rock, I pretty much got the right rock cleaned up, but now I got to do the one on the left. Here we go. Cool. Appreciate it. You got any questions, feel free, or if you want to chime in on a topic, we're going to be here for a bit tonight. You can hop into the Hangout if you wish to. I do have the link. It's up to you. I don't make anybody do anything they don't want. You're in the UK? That's all right. I'm Canadian. So basically, I'm just a British guy that moved away because I hated the taxes. Still a Commonwealth nation. Yeah, the tank's coming around good, especially after having to deal with that die-off on the rocks that I had after my steel. Everything's happened to this tank's been my fault, so. And nothing bad's happened. It's just been annoying. The rockscape you see my wife did with a friend, and they glued it all together, and I forgot to put the rock back in water overnight. So it dried out. When it dried out, that caused a bacteria die-off on the rocks. So that when I actually set the system up, and you can see those videos, I should have let the tank probably run dark for about 3 weeks, and I was going to jumpstart the tank. So that led to this die-off, allowing that algae to grow. So now what I've got to do is just deal with it. And my female cat keeps sticking her claws in my side because she wants me to pick her up, and I don't want to. Come on, you. So, but yeah, it's definitely it's a nice little journey for people to watch. Tomorrow I'm probably going to get a little aggressive. I treated the rock on the right, and if you look, you can see the right side up top of the rock is cleared off. And on the back, you can see the white fuzz. And that's because I took that rock out, scrubbed it with a brush, and then sprayed it down with hydrogen peroxide and let it sit out for 10 minutes, rinsed it off in fresh salt water, and put it back in the tank. So. And as you can see, the ill effects are not there that some people would scream about. You just have to watch, not so much like an ammonia spike, but ORP drop. So if the fish are all up the top trying to breathe, yeah. For a 15, oh, I've got lots of ideas. Nano tanks, just remember that I have a couple of caveats about small tanks. This is a 20. If you could set up a 20 long, it would be better. Okay, 15's fine if that's all you can afford, or that's the limit, or size is the limit. The similarities are pretty close. If you can get a long version, don't get a tall, unless that's what you absolutely want. Stock-wise, there's no limit to coral. You just got to watch out for big leathers because they will kind of take over and you'll be cutting them off forever. Fish-wise, neon goby. You can, in a 15, absolutely keep most, like Watchman, Yasha, any of the gobies that'll go with a pistol shrimp, you absolutely can have in there if you have sand. If you're not going to go with a sand bottom and you're going to go bare bottom, I highly suggest staying away from most gobies because they do like the sand as a hiding place. You can get a cardinal. You can get those clowns. Any clownfish will do well in a small tank. Cardinal, you can have one, maybe two, depending on what you do. Really, it's just you got to stay away from the bigger breeds, right? So, rabbitfish, tangs, Starry Blenny gets a little too big. That one in front there, that's a lawnmower. He's only going to get maybe an inch longer, and that's about it. My Starry Blenny, on the other hand, is already 6 inches long, and he's probably thicker than my thumb. So they need the space. Wrasses generally don't do well. Now that I have a Lubbock's in this tank, they don't get too big. So you have to research the wrasse. If you want to put it in, I would highly suggest staying away from a 6-line wrasse in your tank. And if I'm going too quick, ask. Okay, I can always come back. I do kind of remember usually what I'm saying. So it's a lot of information. Plus, you can play this stream back later and always hear what I said. So, like, was there a fish you wanted to keep? And I can say no or yes. And remember, that's only a guideline. You're doing what I did. Yeah, I keep saying I'm not going to have more than one tank, and I had 3, and I parted down to 2, and then I went back to just 1, and then it was 2, and I said, the hell with this, and I went back to 1, and now I've got 2 again, and it was because of those 2 clowns. My wife saw them, fell in love, and that was it. We had to do it. So my only rule with her was if I'm doing it right, and this 20 gallon is sumped. In the top left, you can see the overflow box. Yeah. I just like a sump. I can put bigger equipment. So this tank can handle the load I put in here because my sump probably has in Marine Pure balls alone about 100 pounds of rock, the equivalent. So, you know, these fish will never outdo the bio load that it can handle. Barnacle blennies. I am not as, hold on a second. I got a couple good resources for that stuff. Let's see here. Barnacle blenny. Barnacle blenny. Where's my list? Blennies. There we go. See, I'm not familiar with that one. Give me a sec here. I love how a fork-tail blenny is what we call a fanged blenny where I live. Let's see here. Article. There we go. Now, that depends on which one. Do you know which one? There are three. Oh, yeah, Tim, Marine Pure. I was talking with Mike Aaron there, Aaron's Aquarium, and we were talking about that. And you guys have something over there called BioHome, and that's a similar product, same idea, right? So each piece of media, there's more than one. I'll get into. Just give me a sec, Mandy. The Marine Pure I don't want to lose track of. So with the BioHome, hey, what's going on, Jeff? I have no preference one way or the other. If you can get Marine Pure, get Marine Pure. If you can get BioHome, get BioHome. The other ones like Pond Matrix works well. It does, but it needs to be corralled more. I like the BioHome and I like the Marine Pure because you can put it in your sump and just pile it up and let it do its thing. Whether or not it has anaerobic areas and all that stuff, and my female cat is literally pestering the hell out of me. Sorry here. Come on, you. What are you doing? The biggest thing I can say is that I know the equivalent for BioHome is 2 pieces of BioHome are the equivalent of 5 pounds of rock. So, you know, use that kind of as your basis, and they do the same thing, right? They're going to just give you so much surface area to work with versus the plastic ones, which are like, you know, 50 square feet. Here's the equivalent. The plastic bio balls you see and a Marine Pure ball, the difference is the plastic ball has about 50 square feet of surface area. The Marine Pure has 240 square feet of surface area equivalent. There you go. And BioHome's very, very close. So on the blenny front there, Mandy, there is the Mexican barnacle blenny, the Panamic barnacle blenny, and the eyebrow barnacle blenny. And they're all, looks like roughly the same price. Live Aquaria is a pretty good spot for them. And yep, so 10-gallon tank, no problem. Max size is 2 inches. It is a carnivorous fish. Most are. Is there anything it's not compatible with? Okay, so the Mexican one fares better if there is no barnacle for it to live in. It will use shells and rock to hide in. And the Panemic, which you can tell the Panemic because it's got a red eye. So its eye's like an orangish red around the black. I'll establish 10 gallon. Okay, so the Panemic and the eyebrow both need a much more established tank. So, the mature tank thing that we all hear us talk about. So if I were to read what I'm saying off the chart here, I would probably say that the Mexican Barnacle Blenny, and again, they're all really similar. Wow, it's hard to tell the difference. They all look really similar. Tell you what, Mandy, I'm going to link you what I'm using, which is Live Aquaria. It's kind of an easy one to use. And I can ask my LFS guy, and next time I see you, I'll see what he says. But there you go. That has all the info that I was reading. And then you can use it to identify what you see at the store. Microbacter 7, from what I heard, is pretty good. I was talking now. This cat, guys. Sorry, guys. Hold on. There you go, baby. Come on. Sorry, my female cat's like my child. Anytime, Andy. And I'll ask my LFS guy, Mandy. He's pretty experienced, 35 years in the hobby, and has been doing it since forever and a day. I use ATM Colony when I seed. I've had very good success with it, so that's what I use. I have used Dr. Tim's One and Only. That went really well. And again, there's just rules to follow, right? Now, Tim, you've got enough experience. You're as I recall. Hey, hi, Lisa. You should get in chat. You should get in my hangout till Angelic Dave gets back. And I messaged Ray today, so I should hopefully have an answer tomorrow for you. I gave him your address, so hopefully he can just sort of run with it. I'm just going to tell him I'm not sure what's going on with the emails between you two, but there's some disconnect going on, I'm sure. Oh, Canada. Add the BioPure. BioPure. What's BioPure? Jeff. There you go. Yeah, I dumped the whole bottle in, Tim. So if that's what you mean, Jeff, you did talk to him. Okay, so now I feel like an ass. I was sick today, so I've kind of missed out on everything. I've been sort of in and out all day. So is he sending you test kits? Did he kind of confirm that and they're on the way, or what did he say to you? Yes, I love you. Jeez. Sorry. My female cat's a big suck. Yeah, I've never looked into that. I'll have to look into that, Jeff. Seed made by Aquavitro. Well, I know who Aquavitro is, so. The only problem is if you ever watch, and you want to watch anything on bacteria and take that as good information, look up Mr. Saltwater Tank and the Dr. Tim interview. And he actually interviews Dr. Tim, and he tells you why his stuff is better than the rest, so on and so forth. Oh, anytime. I actually have your, what do you call it? Refractometer I'm getting you picked out. Marine Pure, yeah. You don't have to add it slow, but what you do have to do, get yourself some RODI water and rinse them out. They are extremely dusty fines inside the pores from the process that makes them, and I have goofed in the past, and I have oh, come on, you got to get off me, cat. Sorry. Oh. You got to love it when it makes me feel like a heroin addict. Sorry, I took my meds for my blood pressure, and it sometimes makes my joints itchy, of all things. So, anyway, I have totally lost track where the hell I was. Here we go. It's going to be that kind of a night. I can see that coming. Nope. Oh, right. Your refractometer. I've already got it picked up there, Lisa. So you're going to have a refractometer. Jeff from American Reefing is going to be sending you a skimmer there at the end of the month there shortly. And I'm going to send you that Aqua Clear 70. Or are you going another way? I was going to ask you about that next time I saw you. Yep. If you want to put a tank up right away, I always tell people the same thing. It's you can do it. Live sand helps. The only problem I have with live sand is that occasionally you'll get a mini die off, very small one. But if you're going to put marine pure in, clownfish can handle that. Not a lot of other fish can. Damsels and clowns can, because clowns are damsels. They're just a subspecies. So once you've done that, then you're going to add your rock. Once your rock's in, then you add your BioPure or your marine pure, and then you seed your tank. And you can do this all at the same time. And then run your tank. Once your marine pure is added, add your fish. And don't add more than 1 or 2 fish. Okay, well, that's what you're going to get. I'll might use that as an excuse to run to Fredericton tomorrow. Can't buy anything else, but no. Now the refractometer is a good price. I'll have it calibrated ahead of time for you too. I just coughed in all your ears. I am very sorry. No. So how's things otherwise, Lisa? You doing good? What, that I coughed in your ear? That made your day? You are a strange lady. Yeah. No, well, I'm glad. I'm not out to give anybody a hard time. Even our last stream when we were talking about ick, I don't get mental about it anymore. I'm not sure you can see it, Jeff, but if you look at the rock on the right, on the left of that rock, sticking out to the left, you can still see some of it. But if you look to the right, you'd notice now that fuzz is no longer there. So this tank is definitely going to be my seed. This is how you can deal with it one way. Like I said, it was just die off on the rock, right? It was no big deal. But man, I had some people just nuclear meltdowns about this algae in my brand new tank. See, you can't do this. You can't do this. And I'm like, oh, one mistake and I'm going to pay for that. That's what that is, right? We'll get into the hangout, Lisa. I'm reading your thing there. I'll make you laugh a few times. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, you're going to have a rough time after him getting ass-ended by a rig. Yeah. Me on the highway all that time. Trust me. I know what you're talking about. My mother was pure panic. Yeah. Where she's so sick, I didn't want her to panic. It's like, Mom, I know how to drive. I've been driving for 30 years. Yeah. Well, that's fine. Check those sugars. You know what? Hit her just a little extra hard with her. No, I'm kidding. Snap that pin. It's near Cambridge, Ontario, Jeff. It's in Ontario, I should say. Southern Ontario. The special people of Canada. Right near Guelph. Yeah. Oh, all my fish are out and swimming. Oh, it's so nice to see. Wonder how hard Disney would come aboard me if I used Under the Sea as my theme song. I should make coffee. Let's get a thumbs up. Should Craig make coffee so Craig can stream for a few more hours or not? Yeah. Tim's one thumbs up. One thumbs up. Yeah, two. There we go. Yeah, that's two. 2 of 4. Need one more. Somebody's going to give me a thumbs down. I'm going to get pissed, by the way. No. Ow. No. Maybe I can get lucky and I can find someone coming down from Norm's. So come on. One more thumbs up. I'll go make them coffee. And I'll adjust the camera a little bit too while I'm at it. Oh, the stream is freezing up. What's going on there? I got to feed them too, so that's going to work out. So whether you guys want me to get me a coffee or not, you'll see the camera move. You'll see the fish get fed. I'm sure they'll get all active about that. I'll make sure I put in the food they like, which is Hikari Marinas. This is a 20-gallon long, Mandy. So it's 30 inches by 12 inches by 12 inches. I'll give you a better view here in a moment. Sorry to hear that, Jeff. Yeah, link's up there, guys. Hopefully it works. Doesn't work? Well, figure it out. Maybe. YouTube and their secrets. Right. Well, last feeding of the night. There you go. It gives you a better idea, Mandy, of the size of that tank, right? I can pull it back, but I don't want to. Live Aquaria is a... oh, wrong one. Jesus, guys. Sorry. Hold on. Right, I did that for Mandy. It's like a... Okay, try this one, and the redirect link will go up in a second here. Not tried this one. No, everything's looking pretty good in there. There's a link, Jeff. I did throw it up there, so. Well, instead of your 15, get a 20. It's 5 more gallons of water to help you deal with things, and it holds equipment a little better, personally, in my opinion. Don't do 4. Well, you know what? Do what you want. I mean, I know people have 15 tanks. I'm not personally into that. When I had IC on the go, I had 9, and it was driving me nuts. If anything ever was going to make me quit was doing water changes on 9 tanks. It seemed all I did was make water and have my hands in water. Yep. It's a marine land. You know, nothing super special there, but it works really well. Hey, Lisa.
Hi.
How you
Can
doing?
you hear me okay?
Hear you just fine. I'll actually adjust you a little bit here. There you go.
Okay, thank you. I'm being so quiet. I actually even came downstairs and I'm sitting in a corner.
Okay. How's he doing? I mean, that's a pretty serious. That's kind of funny as I'm hiding it. No, I'm not cheating on you, honey. I swear I'm not sending nudes.
He's doing okay for the most part. Today, this thing, because he was having a really hard time walking yesterday. So I took him back into the doctor today.
Right.
And they had a closer look at his x-rays, but they say in a couple days they're going to send him for a more detailed MRI because there's so much swelling right now, so they don't want to misdiagnose. This is what they're saying. So I'm actually going to kind of push for the contrast dye to be put in because I want to see if there's any nerve damage, and because it's almost like his leg is like limp, it's really weird. But so today he was actually, so after the doctor prescribed him some pretty heavy duty muscle relaxers, anti-inflammatories and painkillers. And he was up moving around, and I was able to actually help him in the bath and rub his back a little bit. So he actually it was relaxing for him. So I was like, well, at least I can touch you now.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy, yeah.
Yeah, I'm always mad. I got a cut on the back of my leg from doing that move. And once again, as a diabetic, it's infected.
Oh, geez, Craig, that's dangerous.
Yeah, so it's like I'm going to the doctor on Thursday for my normal A1C checkup and everything. So I'm going to get him to look at it then. She excised it, if you know what that means.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We made sure there's not any excess fluids in it, and because I bashed my leg on my brand new car, so it wasn't rusty, nothing. Right, you know what I mean? I just slipped and my shin went into the sill of the car, and that bruise led to a full-on infection in my leg took 3 weeks to clear up. 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's crazy, eh?
Suck a dick, diabetes. You know what I mean?
Right? Eat shit. Yes, I totally agree with you.
I used to be able to run into. I used to have epic wipeouts on bikes and everything else, and now I was like, I can't even bump into a car. Really? Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
Jeff, it's
with
what
me,
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, Mia, like even mosquito bites in the summer, right? The mosquito bites are just like they take weeks, if not months, to actually heal, like a
Full on.
mosquito bite.
Yep.
Right?
Well, she's probably not leaving it
Yeah.
alone either. So
No, she doesn't.
no,
Not at all.
that's the problem of being a child, right? You know, so
Mhm.
I remember scratching mine till they bled, and even then it was like, well, got to dig at it some more. Yeah,
Right? Still itchy.
yeah. And then Afterbite come out. I remember when it came out. Oh God, that's dating myself. And
Well, you got to make sure you're like on top of that leg issue though, because that can turn
oh yeah.
gangrenous very quickly.
Well, that's the wife said. She said
Yeah.
she thought it looked green, the pus. And I went, okay, I'll get him to look at it. I won't forget. There's already a note for when I go on my phone to remind him that I have a cut that is acting up.
Yeah.
Because the worst part is, and I tried to, I got a lot of grief from this person I moved.
Yeah, he was insane, eh? What a hellish freaking time, yeah.
Yeah, he was having an issue, you know, whatever. And what was really funny about it is that, you know, he doesn't understand from my point of view is like, you know, we got up at 8. We're going to be packed in on the road by noon. It's now 3:30.
Oh, Jesus.
My feet have a finite amount of time before the neuropathy makes it impossible for me to really walk.
Yeah.
And it isn't that I can't walk. It's just, it's painful for a few minutes so you kind of work out, you know, walk it off, so to speak, right? But I know it's my feet are going to keep swelling and make it worse, right? It's neuropathy. It's what it does, right? I have nerve damage in my feet, right? So
yeah,
the really funny part with that is when I'm doing the hobby stuff, I have the same issue. I have to make sure that I'm going to time this so that I don't run out of steam, right? That I can get this done and get it, you know, get it over with. And, you know, and I always feel for anybody in the hobby that has physical issues and limitations. You know, every time I stuck my arm in the tank, I have to look over my arm for little infected dots.
Right?
Because the water is so
that's
dirty.
Crazy.
Yeah. Just to make sure, like, oh, no, that's a little infected, a little alcohol, clean it out. And try to keep my hands out of the tank as much as possible. So it's not a bad day. I'm not looking for a pity party from anybody. I have diabetes. It's my own bloody fault. And everyone's like, no, it isn't. Yeah, it absolutely is. I had a horrendous lifestyle in my early 20s leading into my 30s. You know, I played in a rock band, snorted cocaine for years, drank my ass off, basically lived the life of 100 men. So I've always told people, like, if I die, just have a party. Because trust me, I had my fun, your fun, and her fun. I don't want to go.
So you have type 2, right, Craig?
Yeah, I've got type 2 adult onset diabetes. Yeah. So it hardened my arteries. The biggest one is it affected my heart. So
that's no good.
No. I end up usually on heavy duty Keflex when I get skin infections, Jeff. Like intravenous Keflex. Usually they'll dose me a bag or 2 bags. Go ahead.
Jeff saying about that silver, so I'm like all about the homeopathic lifestyle. And I actually have this, so it's a liquid silver. It's pure liquid silver. And I do use that on my kids. And it actually does really, really encourage healing. It's like a natural, I guess you would call it almost like a natural antibiotic. And it actually works. And it's not right, like, but it's crazy. So that's funny that he mentioned that silver ointment because I use stuff like that.
I'm not fully against homeopathic. Well, no. How do I put that? 90% of it's full of crap.
See, but this is so a lot of it. You probably have heard people just talk about stupid things. There's a lot like, okay, so about the cinnamon, about diabetes, how it's going to cure diabetes. Definitely not. No. There's other uses for cinnamon.
No, absolutely.
But I'm talking about like, right?
Right. There's things that work, like vitamin C. Somebody gets a cold and it's like they start taking 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C per day, right? Okay. If it makes you feel better, I'm all good with it. It's expensive urine. You know,
I don't so much believe in the vitamin C or D for a cold. It's more like I believe in garlic and onions for colds, and I shit you not. I told one of my doctors this, and she actually tried it. So you take a red Spanish onion, say if someone in your house is just sick. So you take one of those red onions, you chop it in half, and you put the bowl wherever you're sleeping.
Yep.
And yes, your house will smell like shit. It will,
Well,
but that onion will absorb the bacteria and kind of deter from other people getting sick. And that
you know why I believe that?
Why?
Now, do you know how come I believe that?
Because you've actually done it?
Well, sort of. When I paint, one of the tricks I learned to help negate the smell of paint was to take a Spanish onion or two, chop them in half, put them in a bowl of water in the room where the painting was done, and it absorbs the smell of that paint. It's a natural absorbent.
Yes, right?
Yeah,
it's very true. And same with the pneumonia. If you were to take the Spanish onion once again, put it all over your house, but you soak it in a bath like water, and you lay in that bath of water, that's going to help draw out that really gunky shit out of your lungs.
It could.
I'm not going to say it really does.
Nope.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean? And that's it comes into the hobby like that too. There are things that work in this hobby that are counterintuitive. You know, you just wouldn't think no, but you know, it does work, right? It's like the peroxide. I got people that freak out about me using peroxide in my tank. And I'm like, why? Right? It's just water and oxygen, right?
Yeah, do you use it to clean? You know, Joey, that guy?
Yep.
He uses hydrogen peroxide for stuff in his tank too.
Yippers.
So, yeah, you're not crazy. Yeah.
Not at all, right? And like if you look at that rock on the right in the picture here, you can see that the rock on the left looks green and thick and heavy, untreated. The rock on the right is the one that I cleaned off and treated. Look at the difference. And the fish are all happy.
Looks so blue.
It looks so, well, it's going to look blue. It's nighttime.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see you get started. I really can. I was talking to a friend of mine.
I'm so excited.
He's like,
really excited.
We said, what led to that? I said, it's just a nice lady that was having a hard time. I said, and we're all sitting there going, well, we all have, butt tons of gear that we just sell or give away, and I'm sitting there going, well, I did this already. I actually helped the guy out. I gave him 90% of what he needed.
Really?
It always comes back to me in some way, because now I got a 29-gallon tank sitting out my car that I got for free.
See, karma, right?
Yeah,
I have a tattoo around my ankle that says "What goes around comes around." It's true, though.
It is, yeah.
Hi, Dave.
Hey, Dave. Here, Dave. Don't know if it'll work for you. Let me know. Or you can fix it. Wrench man. I have coffee ready, Lisa. So 2 seconds. I gotta go get some nice coffee.
Okay. So, Jeff, I'm taking it you're doing renovations on your bathroom. I just read the chat. Look, Dave, you're always so popular. Everybody loves you. Oh, geez. Jeff, ouch. Understandably so. You need time to let that heal up and make sure that, it heals from the inside out, sort of deal, so nothing can penetrate your spine. That's a very touchy area. I hope you heal quickly. 3 more weeks. Oh. Are you moving around okay though? Like, is this one going much better?
I have returned. I had to go deal
Dave's
with the other.
Making fun of me.
Oh, Dave's making fun of you. Nothing to do there. Nope. It's I'm actually really happy with the tank. Hopefully tomorrow I can be motivated enough to actually finish the job, so to speak. It's hard with this because there's a clown goby and he likes to stay in the rock. So for me to take those structures out, I have to put it into a container and lightly work on it, and hopefully find him ahead of time. If I can find him ahead of time, then I confidently can take the rock out. But if I can't, then I have to be very gentle with it so that if he falls out, I just scoop him up and put him back in the tank, right? The lawnmower blending went through that in the rock on the right. I was starting to work on it, and I went, something's bugging me, and I just kind of tilted the rock, and thump, out he fell. And like, oh, there he is. Pick him up, put him back in the tank. So, and look at him. He's no worse for wear, running around with his big fat gut from eating all that algae. No.
Jeff is having someone take care of his tank because of his surgery.
Yeah,
no doubt having to pay. That sucks.
Hey, Jeff, you feeling up to popping in, or was that a fleeting moment? So there you go. Because I know you were asking for a link earlier, and I thought you saw it, but apparently you didn't. Should work. And if it doesn't work, maybe I'll get Dave to fix it. I don't know why it's not working. I'm doing what Dave tells me to.
I know I've missed Dave lately. He's been so busy at work.
Yeah, he's building a restaurant, isn't he? Of some sort. I forget what he was building, a Chipotle or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but I just know I'm having Dave withdrawals. Once now and again, he'll come in. Yeah, he's coming in and out and just making his appearance, and then he's gone.
Yeah. Well, if he's tired, I don't blame him, but, you know. Making dosing bottles.
He's watching Jessica. Yeah.
I was thinking about asking Billy. It's Billy Pipes that does the inserts for sumps, isn't it, Dave? As I recall, he makes them. I thought it was him.
Jeff says he's trying, but it always tells him he's offline.
He's off air. Yeah, that's stupid. Give me your email address. I'll send you a direct link. Then you can get in. And I'll add you.
You know what I find too?
What's that?
There's certain streams that, like, if I go, like, you know, if it's a full house and if somebody leaves, the multiple people will get dropped out at the same time.
Seen that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen that too. I haven't personally had an issue. I have to use Google Chrome though. Anything else doesn't work at all for me, right? Like I don't even bother.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, Jeff, shoot me your email.
I think I heard Dave mention that before, like Safari and stuff is like so stupid about it.
There we are. And copy. And
there's Dave. He came in.
Link's working. Yeah, link works. Dave. Not sure why it's not working for Jeff, but I'm going to send it to you direct here, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, are you on Google Chrome? If you're on a PC, use Google Chrome. Everything else doesn't work.
That's why I just said that. I was like, Dave has told me that before, that Safari and everything else is shit.
When I'm coming in, I can't hear anything because there's a whole delay plus muting YouTube. So
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I'm glad somebody was listening when I talk.
Yeah, we try to. But that's all you can do, right? Yeah. You know, you pop into some of these streams. It's like today was I streamed a little and everything. I just wasn't feeling well. I knew I wasn't. You know, 23-year-old Dustin smoking in an apartment will do that too, right? Yep. Plus, when I drive, and I don't know as a smoker, Dave, if you have this problem, when I drive long distances, I smoke like a freaking chimney. You know, it's like a boredom thing. Like it just keeps me awake, and especially a lot of night driving I've been doing. So, you know, as I am no longer. Go ahead.
I don't smoke in my house or my car.
Right.
I wish I could. But although, no, it's probably
working out really well for you. Look, I'm the guy, I pay for it. I'm smoking in it. That's my viewpoint. But I understand when people don't. You know, I get it, right?
In the house, I get it. When I had in the house in the car, I didn't smoke either. So
yeah.
Yeah, I smoke outside only.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, except you live in Canada and it's minus 30 goddamn 2 and you're trying to smoke a cigarette. Let's think about that for a second.
Yeah.
They don't even
right? I'm like, why do I do this?
Cut down. Yeah, it takes you 10 minutes to get bundled up.
Yeah, just to go out and smoke a cigarette. And you're just sitting there going, what the hell, right? The last place I was working had underground parking. And I looked into the law because the law is 30 feet from any public entrance and all this stuff in Canada now, and that's fine. I actually said to a friend of mine, you know what's funny is that in Canada, if you were caught leaving your animal, your dog chained up outside in sub 25 weather, you can be charged. But we'll make a smoker go outside in minus 25 weather. Right? It's like that tells you the attitude that's up here, right? You know, and it's again, you know what? I'm never going to quit. I'll stand right in front of somebody. I'm going to keep smoking because unless you make it illegal, and even if you do, I'm probably going to keep smoking and steal from your house. Right?
Well, they just passed that law as well in this area anyway, that you're not allowed to smoke at all on any park grounds at all. Like, so, right?
Do you know what that's for?
But it's not just the play centers. It's like the entire, so there's like forested area, walking trails and everything. And you're not.
I know. And it's like, it's really funny. I grew up in an era when you could smoke on the bus, you could smoke anywhere, and they were taking smoking away from places, and it made sense. Now it's just this forced labor camp mentality, you know, that they have. And it's like, well, you know, it's what it is. That, you know, society goes through these different changes. You know, let's face it, there was a time it was fully acceptable to be a racist dick. Now it's completely different, and that's, you know, good.
So, Dave, are you building the Chipotle? We were trying to guess on what you were working on during the day.
Oh no, I work in all different places, but when they're building a place, I'm only running camera network wires. I'm usually at each place for a day or two when they're building it, and then a day or two when they finish it. So I'm all over the place.
Gotcha.
I worked in a Family Dollar today. Tomorrow I'll be at a jewelry store. So
there you go. Okay, so you're like me. You're a network. You're a physical network admin. Yeah. You run the actual wires and stuff, correct?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Point of sale machines, is that what you mostly like, that kind of thing, or is it full network?
More CCTV than anything.
More CCTV. Okay, that's my brother does that. He has a company up here. Yeah. And I laugh because he keeps trying to get me to work for him. And I said, well, you got to pay me better than minimum wage or dupe. Yeah, I actually helped him set up his first server, and it was funny because trying to explain how to run an Apache server to somebody who does not understand Linux is that was an event. Right?
I don't do any of that.
No.
If I can get them in, that's all I can do. I get them in, and then they do it from there.
And they got to do it, right? And I told them, I said, look, I'm going to have to come up. So I came up and remoted into some camera network he had set up in Halifax. And I was in Norton, New Brunswick, up near Fredericton. And I was having a good laugh because I looked at him and I said, do you understand what I just showed you? And he went, no.
I said, I go out to the truck, I get my cradle point and go hit them. Now you're in. Do what you got to do.
Yeah. And I told him, I said, you know, I showed him the procedure a few times and I said, this will get you in. I said, but you're going to need to hire a guy. I said, because I can't keep, you know, coming up. I said, especially for no money, right? You know, I don't mind helping my brother out, but at the same token, you got to do this. You got to learn how to do this, right?
He's making money, so yeah, I get it.
You know, it's like I can make my camera work remotely if I want, but it's just easier to use my secondary Gmail account and log in with it, and that way the phone just works. I don't have to deal with it, right? And somebody's like, well, why? And I say, because then I got to boot up a server, I got to boot up an IP camera, and, you know, and then I got to link it, and then I got to bring it up, and the frames per second is atrocious. Blah, 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 blah. I said, you know, look, just do it. It works, right? Yeah. But I get it when somebody has to do it a certain way, that's different. And we can make that work because we'll have the equipment to make it work. You know, like right now, my camera, my phone is sitting on BushidoBass@gmail.com. and that's why you can see that on the stream, right? And the only reason I put that up is because it's just boring to hear us talk sometimes, right? You know, it does flash, 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 you know, whatever. You know, I'm not going to keep doing this. Eventually we'll get to a point I'll have, I don't know. My wife's trying to talk me into doing a frag tank in my office, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do another tank.
I bought a nice, I forget what kind of camera, a nice web camera.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. It makes, whenever I'm on a live stream, everybody else's voice crackles whenever that camera's plugged in. I have no idea why. I don't have another laptop to try it out on. I should have just brought it back, but you know.
Jeff says I'm boring. Fair enough.
Dave, did you get that other tank set up?
Yeah, it's been set up. I wanted to plumb it into my main tank, but something went wrong in it, so it's just gonna run on its own until I feel safe about it.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Its own sump, and it's, you know, it's 5 feet from the other tank, so I can plumb it in whenever I want.
Well, that's easy. Oh.
Yeah. Right now it's running, but it's something died in it, and it's just got a smell to it. And there's so much live rock in there. There's like Kenya trees fell behind rocks, died, whatever. You know, if Kenya trees are dying, I don't want it hooked up to my SPS tank.
No, definitely not.
Right, exactly.
You're running some GAC on there?
Yeah, if I'm killing some weeds, I don't want it on my prize babies.
No, at all. Not at all. No. What were you going to say, Lisa?
No, I was like, I can't wait to set up mine. I'll probably just stare at it all day.
You will for a bit, then.
Even though it's just cycling.
Well, you don't have to cycle too long. I wish I wasn't even thinking I was at a place I could have bought you a bottle too of ATM Colony, but I'm sure you can get it up there. You can
so
jump.
That's the best one is ATM?
That we have access to, right? If you have access to Dr. Tim's one and all, like I can give you a list, right, of the ones that I know work. And again, this is not a jumpstart where you can make it look like this one. It's a jumpstart to put a couple of clowns in or whatever you want to choose, right? You know, watch your clowns. And somebody's like, what do you mean? Well, depending on the clown, they can be really aggressive. So you don't want to put in 2 clowns that now no one else is allowed in the tank. But generally oscillaries are fine. Yeah, it varies, right? So, you know, you can put a couple of clowns in your rock and set it up, and then you keep your lighting to a minimum, and just the tank will cycle in a couple of days, and then go through another little phase. And then once you start to see diatom, then you can start to put your cleanup crew. So your snails, your hermit crabs. I hate hermit crabs with a passion. They're just a pain.
Yeah, I don't like them either. I don't like hermit crabs.
But
I don't mind snails, and I don't mind shrimp.
Yep.
But
well, shrimp don't do a lot of cleaning.
Obviously, the diatom algae.
Yep.
How do you is it just going to run its course?
Yep. Generally it does. Generally so. No.
And why don't you like hermit crabs?
They knock everything.
Like,
oh, no.
I just don't like the look of them. Okay. I think they're creepy little looking things.
Have you ever seen scarlet or red-legged hermit crabs?
Yeah, scarlets are nice.
No.
They're a little sensitive.
Yeah. They're nice. They stay small.
Yeah.
They do a good job, and they're interesting to watch.
Yeah, and they're generally not murderous thugs. Common hermits are a bit of a pain. Those are the ones that are like a white stripe on the leg. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll look at the scarlet and see if that's something. And you know what I'm terrified of, and I don't know what I'll do.
Okay.
Is about those kinds of bristleworm and whatever. Like I can't do that. I really can't.
Normally not out in the light. If they are, you have a problem, a nutrient problem. Yeah. They control their population.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about bristleworms. Don't be my wife.
Oh, jeez.
A living pipe cleaner that cleans out all the little holes in the island.
Yeah. They do a great job. That's all you need to know.
Oh, right? Jesus. I'll have nightmares. If I know that's crawling around in the tank, like,
they always are. That's the trick. No matter what you do, they're going to be there, right? Just get over it, right? But here's the thing. Dave's absolutely correct. You shouldn't see them, all right? Like at night, if you go looking, you're going to find them. right? But the trick is they're doing the cleanup. They're the poop eaters. They eat detritus in the tank. They clean out all the pores in the rock. It's absolutely what they do. If you start seeing
bristleworms do,
bristleworms, that's what they do. That's their job. They are the cleanup. They are the best cleanup crew.
They get to places where your snails and hermits can't even think of going.
No, exactly.
Well, I've seen this one YouTube video where this guy is like, he had a really large system, but his bristleworm was like
6 feet long.
A meter. Yeah, like just insane.
Yeah, that was not a bristleworm.
Okay.
That was a bobbit run large that he had found in his system.
No, you don't want a bobbit.
And a bobbit is not a bristleworm. There's something like 2,700 different species of bristleworms. Just bristleworms. That's not in counting all the other ones. They're one of the first forms of life, so to speak. But what you got to remember is a bobbit worm will present itself fairly quickly. You'll figure out you got one. And you will never see one unless you go live rock, and it's just the odds are astronomically against you getting one, unless you do certain things. You don't have to really worry about that, right? And hermits serve a purpose in that they eat like the food that hits the bottom of the tank that everybody's not eating. They're going to eat it, right? They're a cleanup crew. That's what they do. I just hate them because they knock my corals over, or you just get one. I had a electric blue, or what they call a Marshall Island hermit crab. Gorgeous crab, except the thing is he kept getting bigger, bigger, and bigger, and we just started calling him Dr. Doom. Because if you put any other crab in there, he went after it and killed it instantly. It was just I sold him off the minute I kind of just got to a point like I'm selling him.
Right.
Yeah, and he went instantly, man. That was gone. He was just so big and such an easy, pleasant to look at. And he's doing okay in the other guy's tank, but yeah, his habits are still there. He still kills every hermit that comes in the system. And
I got a huge hermit from Miss Risa because she was taking down the tank. She asked me if I wanted everything. He's in my other system. He's not going in the big system. Nope.
No, bit of a thug.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scarlet's are great.
Miss Risa's new system is absolutely the lagoon.
Yep.
Beautiful.
I saw her Pico in person.
Can't wait until she gets
really nice.
Yeah,
friend.
Dave, so nice.
Yep.
She's such a sweetheart too.
She truly is. She's such a good person, such a good
soul. I had a great chat with her there one night. She was in here, and she paid me a wonderful compliment. It meant the world to me. She goes, you know a lot more than you let on, and I'm like, well, I've had a rough 3 years in this hobby, right? Like, I learned the hard way being in the middle of nowhere, with very little access, and that's why I don't like forums, because I would go in and ask a question and automatically get hit with certain questions that was just like, that's not what I asked. Like some
12-year-old trying to school you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, all I want to know is, answer for question A, not, what's your parameters? That had nothing to do with what I was asking about. I was asking about a fish, right? And it's like, well, your parameters could affect that. Yeah, my parameters could affect the size of my penis, but that's not the point. And I just got fed up, right? Scarlet hermits are great. Yeah, don't get me on the topic of the forum. I do not want to rant tonight.
Oh, no, I just don't like it because, I don't like to call myself an expert, but I have been doing this in some form for a very, very long time.
Yep.
Some of the people who are trying to tell me stuff, I was doing this when you were learning to eat.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Well,
But Dave, I also like how you explain things. Like, you're very, you go down to you give the right information, but you're very, very clear about it. Like, you're not going to try to over, yeah.
I always end with, that's how I do it, or in my opinion, because I feel that's very important as well. If somebody's saying, if you're not doing it this way, you're doing it wrong, that turns me right off. It's like, all right, I'm done with this guy.
Well, it's the same thing. We were talking about that with music, Dave. It's the same thing, man. I've been playing guitar for 30 years. There's more than one way to play a song. You certainly, you know what I mean? But this is the easier way, but you can play it your way.
Right.
You know, blah, 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 right? And it's the same thing with tanks. Go ahead, Lisa.
Even note,
my oldest is just starting the ukulele. It's adorable. She's just starting, and she's got it. She's got it. Yeah. It makes me so proud.
You have to have a certain amount of ability. Otherwise, I've tried to teach people, and some people just take right off with it. And those are the ones I love to teach. The ones that struggle with it, you might be missing the ability, or you might need to be doing something else.
There's that big guy. He's out and about. Look at him. He's a cute little bugger.
You know, I really want a jawfish. Like, I can't. I always find myself going and Googling the little jawfish. They're so cute. I love them. Mia wants a dog.
They look like little meerkats.
Yeah, little meerkats.
Yeah, like so cute.
Yeah, you want one
of blue a dog face.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I was showing off pictures the other night of Smoots, my puffer fish that I gave up when I was kind of going to quit. And unfortunately, he went to a tank that the guy had a power outage for 5 days, and he passed. He didn't make it.
Oh, jeez.
I always felt horrible about that because he did so well in my 60 cube. He was like a dog. And he was, you know, walk up to the tank. He was right at the top of the tank. You're going to feed me, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
You walk in the room, those puffers.
Oh, yeah. Like some of them are just like that. Like I told, it was Tina. I showed off to her. Oh, lights just went out on my tank, folks. No more fun time.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. Yeah. Well, you can see the Bengay right around the front. Look at the ghost. Yeah.
Wow, it must be some delay. I'm on YouTube and it hasn't gone out yet.
No, 30 seconds, right?
Oh. No, I'm not live either. Okay. There we go. Some reason when I go back to Google Hangouts and then I come back to YouTube, it's like it was paused or something. It has to catch up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got 2 running at all times, so.
Always got to click that next to that live. That little button has to be red.
Yeah, Jeff, with Ick, you're talking about 3 to 7 days. It really depends on how long they cyst for. Yeah.
See, and that's another thing that kind of makes me nervous is like parasitical infections in the saltwater tanks because, you know, it's much different from the freshwater because you got to worry about the corals and such.
The inverts, yeah.
So, yeah.
It's easier to deal with than you think. If you're going to do, you're doing a 40, right? The bow front?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so your fish are going to be relatively small. If you can afford to pick up like a 15 or a 20-gallon long just to have tucked away, what you would do is if it happens, you have, you know, now this is, you can do it 2 ways. We were talking about it last night. You can support the fish and let them work their way through it. But in a smaller system, it tends to be rather explosive with the parasite. They tend to like, boom, and they just go, it goes mad dog wild really quick. So you have
Well, you know what I have a feeling that I'm going to do once I have my feet wet in the 40-gallon, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to want to upgrade to my 75.
Mm-hmm. That's still small though.
I think that's, I know, but that's like, you know, a 75, at least I can get like, you know, some decent corals or like, you know, in a 40, I don't think I can really do too much because I don't want to overrun the system, especially if I don't have a sump or anything like that.
No, that's like not a problem either. You, as long as you keep your corals about 6 inches apart to give them growth room, a lot of people tend to overdo it, in my opinion, with they put their frag plugs like 2 inches apart and everything. They don't allow room for growth because they assume it's going to grow right away. And then, no, you know, it's going to take time. It takes time to get there. So when they do start to grow, now they're overshadowing and intertwining, and that causes problems, right? You know, you will have issues then. But in a little tank like, yeah, go ahead, Dave. What?
Flow and warfare when they're too close.
Yeah, you'll really end up with issues, like really unreal issues too, right? Like, you know, the reason that you see like Rico pruning all the time and doing up frags is a dual thing. One, he's selling frags. 2, he's making sure those corals don't get too close that they start fighting and killing each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
So so if you only have like an anemone species, will the anemones kill each other?
Oh, an anemone. Okay, this is my opinion. Okay, I have had nothing but bad luck with anemones. I don't bother, and the reason I don't bother is that an anemone will move of his own free will. So no matter where you put him. Well, the thing is, if you have a really nice coral that you like and he wants to be there, he will go over there and sting it to death.
Well, see, I was thinking about only starting with like a mushroom or like a few of them. And this, like, everyone keeps talking about these sponges, but everyone's like, yeah, they just come on the live rock, or they'll just appear.
Some do,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, they do. If you start off with dry rock, the one you will see when you know your tank's sort of coming to its mature state is what they call pineapple sponge. So in the dark recesses of your tank, you know, if you look in the overflow and you look underneath in your sump on the equipment, you'll start to see these little white, and they look like little pineapples. That's one sign that thing's going well. They serve
Q-tips.
Yeah, they look like Q-tip ends. Yeah, Dave, you're absolutely right, actually, now that I think about it.
So do they help clean the tank as well as those little tiny sponges? Yeah.
Yep.
They also tell you you've reached a certain state of maturity in your tank, and now you're able to have harder to keep corals
because the water is at a better state, right? You know, it's
okay.
You know, you know what? You're just going to go feet wet here very shortly. So when you go in, your expectation is just do water changes and keep an eye on the fish that you do put in. And then deal with the steps that are going to come, right? So you're going to get a diatom. The trick is not to panic and go, I'm going to do what Craig did, 1 mil per 10 gallons of peroxide and just nail the tank right away. You don't. I have a problem. That's why I'm working on it. I would never just walk up and start dosing my tank with something, right? So
no. See, I do have a lot of patience, especially when it comes to like...
That'll come so handy for you. Trust me.
Yeah, the equilibrium of the tanks, because... I've been like done freshwater for a very long time, especially planted tank. Like with what just happened, with something happened, and I'm pretty sure it was one of my kids. I had some really, really hard to keep plants in there, and they usually need CO2, and I didn't run CO2. It was beautiful, and they all melted back, but now they're coming back.
Good.
But it's all patience, right? Like you can't rush a process. And especially even with my kids, I'm a very patient person. When I have my mind set on something, I'm like sort of an instant gratification. Like I want it now. If you tell me I can have something, like I want it now. There's no waiting.
Well,
you tell me I'm going to have a steak, give me my damn steak.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I paid for that. I'm patient to a degree, but I had a real streak where, well, my tank's good enough. I can handle that. I had the pineapple sponge. I can handle this. You know, there's all these things. And then I don't know when or where it happened, but bubble algae got into my 45. And I didn't think about what I was reading about when you bust them open, how they do this. And then I thought, okay, well, I got it. And I wasn't turning off all my flow. I was turning off most of my flow when I was dealing with it and peeling it and, you know, sucking them out of the tank. So what happened was I took a small problem and turned it into a huge problem. And, you know, now I've got to deal with this. And the thing is that it's only a problem for coral if it's growing on the coral. It being in the tank is not a problem. It's that it's when it starts to bug corals. So, you know, I totally just sort of mishandled myself around it. Now, it's so much easier to really deal with. And when you go through your start, you know, you're going to hit those little milestones, right? Like the diatom shows up, time to go buy some snails and maybe some hermit, whatever you feel. You know what? Start with snails, right? They'll really handle it. They really will. And if you want to get some hermits, right? And then once you kind of get to the point where the diatom's gone away and the tank's just starting into its next iteration, maybe get a cleaner shrimp or get a blood shrimp, you know, or whatever the case may be, right?
So what's this dinoflagellant that I keep hearing about? It's a dinoflagellant. What is that?
Yeah. It is a toxic form of algae. And It's evil. Yeah. And it only shows, you know what? I couldn't even tell you a story.
Smell? Like, what's the problem with it?
It looks like snot.
Obviously, it would deprecate corals and everything like that.
It looks like stalagmite boogers on the bottom of your tank.
And the distinct, like I was trying to read a little bit about it, is the bubbles on the algae, right?
Not necessarily.
Or is that okay?
So,
not bubble algae. It's a whole different thing. It's just slimy stuff with bubbles in it.
On a tip. So you can have hair algae like me, and I have bubbles on it. So if you were a dumbass and you looked at it, you would assume it's dino. It's not dino. Right? Dino will usually give you a clear indication it's dino too, because something in your tank will die because it will try to eat it, and you will find a dead blenny or you'll find a dead whatever. That's another usual, one of the indicators you can find. But the way to look at it is that
terrible.
It doesn't show up all that often. You hear about it because there's a lot of us and 2 or 3 people have it, so it becomes the thing. But even Dave,
so
go ahead.
Is it from poor water quality and like overfeeding? Is that
Nutrients.
what it's usually?
An imbalance in your bacteria.
Yeah, imbalance in your bacteria. Yeah. So if you so the method I gave you for kickstarting a tank, if you cheated and you started adding more fish, that's one of the bad things to do, because now there's not enough bacteria or biofilter to deal with it.
Yeah, the bioload.
Right. So you have a lot of
understand like that part of it, right? Yeah, like that's the worst thing that you could do is ever, like, you're trying to establish those good colonizations of bacteria. And then if you were to throw in a bunch of fish or whatever, that's an like the bacteria couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it's a bioload.
I get that. Yeah, like I get that balance. But,
so I have a guy. Go ahead, Dave.
You take a tank that's not ready for more fish and you put more fish in. So now you have more fish, so you put more food in. So your bacteria can't keep up with the fish waste, the ammonia from the fish breathing and pooping, and the extra food. So another bacteria can come in and take place of it. That could be cyano. Cyano's red slime usually. And then its nasty cousin is dinoflagellants.
Okay.
Nap them out, clean the nutrients out, and do a little lights out. And while the lights are out, get your bacteria up. The problem is those things, when they die, release all this horrible stuff back into the water. So something needs to eat all of that stuff that's in the water, and you want good bacteria.
Yeah. So that's why it's always
when the rocks turn purple. That's like a good algae, right? That's like coralline algae. Am I right?
It's not harmful. It can be evasive, and it kind of clogs the pores on your rocks.
Okay, I think it's
some people's opinion. Yes,
yeah, it becomes a thing. Yeah, me and Dave have talked at length. Like, I have invasive maroon red colored algae, coralline.
Yeah, I think it's pretty.
Yeah, everyone does, right?
I guess that. Yeah.
It covers the tops of the rocks. The bottoms of the rocks still have pores in them and can still filter your water.
Yep.
But the other thing is it's taking things that your corals need. So like me, I'm dosing a lot of 2-part alkalinity and calcium, mainly because I'm feeding the coralline. So, the coralline's competing with it for the coral. So it costs money to keep the coralline.
Yeah. I'll give you a story about dino. I got a fella just not a week ago messaged me, and he says he has this reddish brown algae, little bit. And he's like, what is it? And I said, well, how old's your tank? He said 28 days. And I'm like, oh, it's probably diatom. I wouldn't panic and just let it run its course. So he messaged that guy I rant about in Moncton, and he tells him it's dino, and he needs to black out his tank for 3 days and then run Dino X. Now, this is a brand new system, right? And he's telling him to do this, and I'm just like, it's your tank, sir. I can tell you what's probably going to happen here. I'm going to be buying your shit because you're going to put yourself right into the hobby. You know what I mean? And he didn't like that response. And I'm like, well, listen, I said, I've done this long enough and dealt with enough people that are impatient. I said, if you want to go and throw chemicals at your tank, I said, do you got corals in your tank? Yeah. 3 days in the dark generally doesn't hurt them, but in a new system,
right.
Your results may vary, and it's not trying to be an ass about it. It just gets to a point with some people, like I can be very patient with people, and I try to be patient with this guy, but this was like the fifth stupid question.
Right.
You know what I mean? That you weren't listening to the answer. That's when I don't like it. If I give you a response and it's my opinion, this is how I would deal with it, and you are just automatically going to dismiss it and go to the guy that you know is a problem, you know, for people in the hobby in the area, and then take his word for it. So I actually said to him, well, why don't you message Norm in, you know, at Salty Cave and see what he says? So he did, you know, because that fine. I'm glad he did. And Norm told him roughly the same thing I said. You know, just let it run, see what it's going to do first, because you don't really even know what it is. And he just ignored Norm. And I actually got a message from a friend of mine tonight that said, yeah, his tank's already crashing. Yeah. So he blacked his tank.
So the blackout usually typically works for the dyno?
Yeah, and then there's other things you have to do thereafter. You would not run Dyno X after a 3-day blackout. That would just be monumentally dumb. You're going to put your fish at risk. There's so many bad things that can happen because that's a really aggressive product. That is not meant to be run that way at all.
Well, don't concentrate too much on the ugly. I mean, we'll all be here when you run into it, if you run into it.
Exactly.
I'm like,
no,
it's the unknown.
You know, I thought I had it at one point, and to be honest, without a microscope, you can't tell the difference between that and certain types of cyano. So,
yeah, what you need to focus on, just like Dave said, I fully agree. You look at the positive. Why don't you deal with the tank from this point of view? That all's going to go well. That you're going to have the minorest of issues that you're going to have to deal with, and it's just mostly going to be upkeep, right? Don't worry about the bad guys showing up, right? If you inspect things before you put them in the tank, if you know, when you go to buy your fish, find out how long the fish has been there. Right? Yep. If you can't afford to quarantine, ask how long it's been there. If he says it's been 3 days, maybe wait.
Watch the fish, ask them to feed the fish, you know, just like freshwater fish.
Yeah, Tina actually came up with a really good idea. And she actually gets that store to quarantine her fish for her. Like she'll put a down payment on the fish and have them just put it in their main display or whatever. And she goes, every time she goes to the store, she checks up on it. I was like, that's a genius idea.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to know the bad
problems I ran into?
Go ahead, tell them the bad thing, Dave.
The bad part about that is that fish store gets new fish at least once a week.
Yep.
So you're looking at this fish, it's healthy, and you're letting it stay. Next week, they get fish with ick or some kind of horrible parasite like flukes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you got to do, and this is where I have the advantage. My local fish store guy knows me, so he knows if I'm interested in a fish, he'll keep that fish separated for almost 6 weeks.
Right.
And then he'll put them into his main system. Right. So if he's going to get something, I'm going to see it right away. You know, he'll see it right away, and he'll tell me, nope, he got sick. He's going back in, and I'll treat him.
Right.
See, but that's good. You have a relationship with your local, right? Like that's
you have to take it from a different. Yeah, you have to take it from a different viewpoint, right? Like I said, that 20 in the back room, that's your best friend.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You guys ever see the TV?
Well, I had a quarantine.
Nope. Go ahead, Dave.
TV what?
Lisa's in a talking mood.
TV
I love
show.
it.
Cheers. It's a bar in Boston called
Cheers.
Cheers. It's an old TV show.
You want to go where everybody knows your name. There you go.
When I go in the
I
LFS,
have a teddy bear with name Cheers.
When I go in the LFS, I'm Norm.
You're Norm. Yeah, same as me.
Oh, no way.
Norm.
Yeah, exactly. And I could see that, Dave. I'm kind of the same thing too, I guess, with my guy. But I found him, and I was looking for anybody but the guy in Moncton, right? Anybody. I don't say his name very often because as much as I want to bury this guy, it's more, you know what? I'm just going to relegate you to the back of my mind, and I won't recommend you. That's the way I deal with it, right? And Norm up at Salty Cave is just fabulous. 35 years in the hobby. He's had tanks that he's done with tap water. He's done, and he'll tell you all these stories, and he'll tell you, you can do this. It isn't, he'll say no. It said, here's the issues you will have. So when it comes to the fish part, we were talking about it, and I said, well, you know, I can't afford a quarantine anymore. I said, I just don't have the room nor the time. I said, so maybe I'll stop with the fish. And he thankfully I got lucky. And he said to me, he goes, well, listen, he goes, you floated me in the first year. And I said, what do you mean? I didn't buy that much stuff. He goes, no, but you told everybody to come and see me. Everybody. Right. I went, well, yeah. I said, you're the best guy to go to for this stuff. You look after you know, you're not the fish police. It's not his job to tell dumbass number 4 that keeping a, you know, fox face, a powder blue, a hippo tang, and a Desjardins tang in a 55-gallon tank is a bad idea.
Right.
That's not his job. Right. But, you know, and even when he found out that's what he was doing, he just would look at him and goes, are you sure you want to be doing this? That's all he would say. You know, just try to guide the guy. My respect level went up immensely because it wasn't no or whatever the case may be in any way, shape, or form. It would just be, you know, you're probably going to have problems. In fact, I'll add to this just a quick one. There's a guy, he keeps buying copper bands, and his tank mates that this guy has in his tank keep killing these copper bands. So they're eating on video in front of everybody, the world, that Norm's got these copper bands and eating right out of his hand. Okay, so this fish is happy, healthy, gaining weight. Unfortunately, this guy buys them and then they get killed.
Right.
Right? So he's got one again. And of course, this fellow wants it. He's already paid for it. And the look on his face was just, I don't want to. Right? Like, I just don't, I know what's going to happen to him. I went, well, maybe he'll be the lucky one. Right? Norm's like, yeah, well, you know. So hopefully I'm hoping this individual kind of clues in, like, you're just condemning these fish to death, right? It's not your fault. It's your tank. It's the way your tank's personality is. These guys just don't want another fish in there. Maybe you should clue into that. But sometimes you can't tell a Heinz pickle anything, you know, so.
I don't know what that means.
A Heinz pickle.
I know what a Heinz pickle is, but I don't get the joke.
No matter how much you talk to it and tell it what to do, it's not going to listen to you.
Oh, okay.
Right?
It's not going to change from being a Heinz pickle, you know what I mean?
Hey, yeah. Tina, what's going on, girl? Yeah, you know, and again, you know, and I've been accused of being an arrogant prick, and I am an arrogant prick, so get over it. You know what I mean? It's my personality. It's the way I am, but I am more than willing to be outgoing enough for it to tell you, like, look, this is just my experience. You know, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. Yeah, Canadian sayings crack you up. Yeah, Jeff, we were talking about that the other day. It's very, I just want to be helpful as best I can. But there comes a point where I'm watching people do stupid things that I have to then, you know, do the dealer. I'm out, right? Not rudely. I'm out because I'm going to lose my temper or say something I'm going to regret. And I would rather at least stay somewhat friends with you, even if you're doing it wrong. Right. And it's just wrong for your tank, not wrong overall. It's just, you already know there's a problem.
Yeah. You know? I call it bowing out of bullshit.
Yeah. Time out. I'm done. So
when you want to come into me type in the chat, I need a break. That means I'm going to go before I say something I shouldn't.
Yeah. I've seen you do it, Dave. I think you've seen me do it too. Nope. I'm out. I'm going to say something stupid in a minute.
And that's why I haven't been doing my own live streams because there's enough drama.
Oh,
it's so true. It's so true.
That's hilarious. I just put up Jeff's address. I keep doing that.
You
copy
address. Great. I got it. No.
Well, Tina's here and she may want to wrap, so I'll put it up for her. See if that works for you, Tina. If it doesn't, I'll put the redirect up. Because YouTube's being weird lately.
This is the one that works.
Oh, is that Jeff?
Yep.
Give me a sec, Jeff. I got to turn you up a little here, bud.
Yeah, Jeff, you're real quiet. You were before, too.
Yeah, hold on.
Can you hear me okay, Dave?
Oh, you're fine. Yeah.
Perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jeff.
I'm not using headphones, so I don't know if I have any kind of talkback issues here.
You're a little loud, but I can fix that. Let's try that. There we go. All right, Jeff.
Well,
there we go.
I was wondering about those the white spots on my fish. Do you guys have any idea how long it'll be before they come back?
3 to 7 days. I couldn't tell you for sure anything on top of that because the life cycle is not for sure. It's all dependent on conditions. But the general rule of thumb, okay, you know, and just what I dealt with when I did it, is that right about day 4, I would start the copper treatment when the white spot showed up. So from that point on, right, that's when you're kind of, you know, getting into that point, you're trying to kill them in the swimming stage, right? Because right at that point, you should be getting up to full strength on the copper. So you start off low and work it up to 0.22. And when you get to the full strength, hopefully that's when the cysts break out. And that's why you got to do it for 2 weeks, because you're going to try to catch them during that cycle.
Jeff, do you have a sand substrate?
I do.
Okay. Are you trying to do this in a quarantine system, or are you trying to do it in the tank that you have, like your display?
So I'm in the process of attempting to catch my fish. I only noticed the white spots on them yesterday. Woke up this morning, they were gone.
Yep.
I'm a little baffled.
What kind of fish, Jeff? I didn't hear the story.
Oh, I got to turn Dave up. Hold on, Jeff. And Dave's going to kick it in here. Go ahead, Dave.
What kind of fish were they, Jeff?
Desjardins and a yellow tang.
Okay, they both had white spot.
Yeah. You know, and I noticed my leopard wrasse was flashing a couple months ago, and I thought, well, geez, that's weird. You know, I don't know why it didn't occur to me. I thought, well, geez, maybe it's got something, and I kind of watched it. Nothing happened. Nothing happened to any of the other fish. And then I moved my fish over into my new tank, and then I added those tangs.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday, all of a sudden, white spots appeared on them, and I thought, oh no.
Are the tangs flashing as well?
No.
Okay.
I'm wondering if they just didn't get sand on them.
Right, because my fox face was flashing and he was getting sand on him. He had flukes, not ick. And when I looked in, it was sand on him. So
that's almost what I'm wondering, because I only saw it today, and I would think that it would appear for more than just one day.
Sometimes you only catch it for the day, but what you can do is, you've got a nice big tank. You got lots of room to work with. What you can do, just watch him, right? If he starts to flash and you see it, and he could be picking up sand, like Dave said, then you have a different issue entirely. And for better or for worse, it is a completely different thing to deal with if it's flukes. They can be really nasty and hard to get rid of. And if, because you can dip that fish, but those are still in the water. So go ahead.
Well, the other thing I was wondering about, oh, sorry.
No, sorry. I'm just going to say the ick, actually, like the life cycle, is that they will basically dormant in the sand. I would assume it's the same as freshwater, because that's what
that part's
freshwater.
The same. Yeah, different species.
So they lay dormant in the sand until a host comes along.
Yeah. Yeah. So
your sand.
For those that maybe don't know, ick is a parasite. Great, we all know that. So the ick burrows into the fish. You do not see this. What you see when you see the white spot is that parasite has already left the fish. That's the exit wound, to call it something. Now, at this point, they go down to substrate, whether it's sand, rock, snail shell, crab shell, whatever, or frag plug, whatever it is. They cyst up, and then they go into, they basically multiply, and somewhere between 3 and 7 days will bust out about 100-fold. So one becomes generally something close to 100. That's why in an enclosed system, it is so nasty right when it comes on, right? So at that point, they're free swimming. This is when they can be killed, right? That's what copper's for, is it kills them in this phase. And I think it's called the trophin stage, but I could be wrong. I'd have to look it up again. And then it repeats.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right, Craig.
So the reason that marine ick is so nasty to deal with is that you can't turn the heat up to kill these guys, because the fish can't handle it. It's not like a freshwater where you can get it up to almost 90. The fish will tolerate it, and then you can kill them off because it's too warm for them. Cryptocaryon irritants, which is what it's, marine ick is just a nasty customer when it comes to that. But if you watch your fish and that does not come back in 5 to 7 days, it could just be his gills were bugging him. He was flashing. He got some sand on him. Look at your other fish. Look at the fins. The number one way I always found it when I went through that period was it was in the fins. You could see it, right? And if you
and for gill flukes, is it the same kind of treatment, like Metroplex, Canoplex kind of thing by Seachem? in salt water?
Pro, I think, is one of the big ones. Usually it's a freshwater dip that clears their gills so they can breathe. And then, Dave, have you ever dealt with flukes?
Yeah, just got done dealing with flukes.
There you go. So Dave's going to be better at this than I am. Flukes I have not technically dealt with. So
I didn't medicate. I just fed healthy, got a cleaner RAS, and they're gone.
You went with that. Yeah, and that's usually the way a lot of people go. Get a cleaner RAS.
So the cleaner RAS will actually go by the gills and pick them out?
Yep.
You can't get into the fish's gills. Only the larger fish will actually let the cleaner RAS clean them.
Yeah.
The smaller fish, they run away because, he's a little too big. But in case of my fox face, I don't know if you saw the video I had. The fox face just kind of, that poor cleaner RAS was in there for 5 minutes. The fox face cornered him and went into a stance and said, "Clean me now."
Yeah, sure did. Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome.
It was amazing. Yeah.
So,
go ahead, Jeff. You were going to try to say something.
Well, that made me think because all of my tags have been letting the cleaner RAS pick them over. They actually actively swim up to it, lay almost on their side.
Right.
Yeah.
Open up their mouths. So it's making me start to wonder.
Well, they will eat the ick parasites too, and also loose scales and things like that where the ick left, like what Craig was saying. It's the exit wound. They'll clean up around the wound. But the best way is to take one fish, and do you know how to freshwater dip? You get some RO water, you get it up to temperature, put a little bit of tank water in to buffer it to the pH, but not enough to really make it salty. And then 3 to 5 minutes on a fish, but do it in a dark colored container because you can't see flukes. They're transparent, but when they die, they become opaque. So it's a white spot, bigger than ick. And you'll see that on the bottom of the container. You'll know what it is after you do it.
Yep.
But those white spots from ick don't heal that fast, I thought.
No, they fall off really quick. Mind-numbingly quick.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep.
And that little white spot will heal up.
Yeah, like generally...
Scarring may not heal up quick, but it's hard to see the scarring.
Yep.
Especially if you have a cleaner RAS.
Yeah.
Because
he could have cleaned it off. Yeah, go ahead.
I had an ash on my screen. I thought the clownfish had ick.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, I put a 50-watt UV sterilizer. My LFS guy, I called him up and he said, "Hey, come down at noon, even though we're not open." And I have a pretty good relationship with him, and he said, "Come on down. I've got one that you can borrow." So I threw a 50-watt UV sterilizer on it. He gave me some medicated fish food. I forget what it's called now.
Hex Shield?
He said, "Just keep." Yeah, actually, that is what it is. Is it bad?
No, but just feed it sparingly. Make sure they eat it. That's the only thing. Right?
I read that on the little pamphlet, the insert inside of it, and that's what he told me as well. He said, "Turn off all the pumps. Make sure they eat it. Don't let it get down in the sand. Don't let corals eat it." So
I don't like that.
Anyway,
I soak the food in Aquavitra fuel. It's full of vitamins.
Yeah, the problem with you're on the right track. Just keep an eye on your tank, and keep an eye on the fish. I should say more so than the tank. Duh. It kind of just comes down at this point. Maybe go that route we were talking about this morning with support. Just keep an eye on them, and if they start to behave erratically, or you start, you'll know it's white spot because it'll come back on. It'll come back on next time with a vengeance. You'll start to see it everywhere.
Fortunately, this is the first outbreak in all the reef keeping I've ever done of ick. It's the first time I've ever seen it. I guess I've been lucky. I've always quarantined my fish. All these fish were quarantined. I don't know. I'm a little baffled by it.
Right.
Well, don't be. You're experienced enough that you can kind of live with it. It's more. It's just such a pain, right, when it happens. Because one, we don't want our fish to suffer, obviously. But the other thing is that I just from what you're saying, when I dealt with ick, it was, they were flashing, but it was there. I mean, it was obvious that I had it because every fish was now exhibiting it. There were like 2 or 3 fish that didn't out of like 12. So, it was very obvious it was there. So, in your case, what I would do is watch that fish had the spot, and then give it a couple of days here, right? Be patient with it and see if he does it again. Because it could have been what Dave said. He flashed, had some sand on him, and it's something else entirely. And the cleaner wrasse is dealing with it.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Well, and I've got a little cave. That's a pretty big cave, actually. In my rock work, it basically goes down the center of the whole tank. And every now and then, I notice the tangs get in there, and they'll kind of scuffle a little bit.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe they got sand all over them when they were having a tussle.
Absolutely could have been. Yeah.
They're picking out bedrooms.
And then of course I go into panic mode, thinking my fish are all dying.
Oh yeah. Well, you should see my wife. Drives me crazy. I love her to death, but every time, oh honey, they're fighting. She wanted me to literally go in and break up a fight between fish.
Yeah, let them figure it out.
They'll figure it out, And if I get one that's too aggressive, like that powder brown tang, time for you to go, buddy. You're not playing friendly with the rest of the crew, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll jump off and let other people.
No, you don't have to.
I don't mean
there's
to
more than enough room in here, but if you don't need to talk anymore, then that's great. You can hang out and chat. And
Yep. Yeah,
Jeff, if you got to catch them, look into a fish trap. It's one of the most humane, easiest ways to trap them. You can put food in it. You can put a mirror in it. A lot of fish will swim in because there's a mirror in it.
Yeah, my local fish guy, my wife, she trades with him.
Right.
So his son has autism, and my wife's a speech pathologist.
Mm-hmm.
And so she trades his son for him coming over and taking care of my tank.
Oh, nice barter.
Yeah, good barter.
Stuff in the tank. It's always good.
Yeah, he has a trap and everything. So he said worst case scenario, he'll come over, and he has a quarantine system at his shop.
Right. The traps are great. I borrowed Seymour's O's, but the only problem is he needed it while I was in the middle of using it. So it was like a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So I'm just not borrowing things anymore.
No, I'm gonna fork the money out and get one of the decent innovative marine ones there and just be done with it, because I keep putting it off, and it's like, no, I better get one, because one of these days something's going to happen again and I'm going to be like, oh, I'm a dummy. Oh, yep. Tina's back from the smoke, and I'd love to hear what she's yakking about, because I know Lisa asked her a question about the ATO that I helped her set up.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm just trying to disassemble my brain from everything today.
I heard. I watched that going down. Yeah.
Been a little too much.
What happened? Everybody's saying it was a rough day.
Yeah, well, the ATO is set up correctly. I knew I was running it right, just from what everybody has shown me and what I've seen for myself. What ended up being an issue, I think, is the sponge that sits in between the last baffle before it gets to the return pump. I think it was plugging up and backing the sump up, and therefore yanking all the ATO water. At least that's what a few people, have said. So I'm taking that out, much to my displeasure, because I am OCD and ADD, and that's driving me nuts right now. But I've got doors closed, not looking at it.
There you go. Well, I'll tell you, I was listening to Mike, Aaron's Aquarium, there telling you about it there.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded like that worked, and it brought things back in line for you. And we had discussed that a little bit, and he's right. And I know it seems like counterintuitive, like you need that there, the mechanical filtrate. Generally with the sump, you don't. A lot of the stuff that you're worried about isn't really going to go back in the tank, the heavier stuff. Okay. And it will, over time, it will clear up on its own. There are products that you don't have to put in line like that, and methods, but you don't need to deal with that right now. I really would love to see you just let the tank run and get yourself to a nice, homeostasis. Things are just running.
Yeah. I'm thinking they said something too about they still think that my pump is too strong for the sump.
Could be.
It's, you know, been making burping, like I would say it's burping like every few minutes, you know, it's like, you know, when a big bunch of bubbles comes through, you know, they're pretty big bubbles come through the main display.
Right.
And I don't know how a sump in that's supposed to sound. I don't know how it's supposed to run.
Is it like on a regular basis, it feels like a surge?
Yeah, just like, you know.
And then everything's fine, and then all of a sudden, boom, and then it does it again?
Yeah, it does it every, you know, every minute or so or something like that. So
you don't have a proper, it's not tuned, it's not siphoning the water, it's just gravity feeding.
It's gravity feeding, yeah. So it could be, it's
that doesn't make any sense to me. What the hell does that mean? You know?
Okay, so
water's just falling.
Yep.
Water's falling, building up, falling, building up. You want to tune it.
Right,
so it's creating a siphon, so it's a constant vacuum in that pipe, and there won't be as many bubbles, and there won't be as much noise.
Okay, now see, I can't do that with this pump. I've got it turned down, I guess.
It's not the pump. Yeah, it's not the pump.
It's the return.
Right? It's the return, or not the return, sorry. It's not the, it's the overflow. So your pipe that's taking the water down, right? It's gravity feeding into it, but it's not doing it at a constant. So it's almost like a buildup in there, and then and it all goes through because gravity takes over. So remember that night we were trying to get you to put the airline in so we could adjust it and all that? Do you remember that, Tina?
Okay, but that's not what Billy. Okay, now you're explaining something completely different than what Reefing with O and Billy Pipes was telling me.
Right, and I'm not going to jump into this heavy, okay? Because the problem is there's far too many chiefs in here going on. Okay, I can only tell you, and I can show you tomorrow what goes on with mine. All right, and I'll specifically deal with that. Maybe I'll just make a video so you can watch it, and I'll just let me explain what I've done. And then you can watch your tank and make your, own observation of what's going on and see if it is the same or close to it, or if it is something completely different. Okay, so go ahead, Dave.
No, I got to deal with Jeff in the chat. Sorry.
Oh, in chat. Oh, okay, what's going on? Okay.
He's asking me what I'm off for. He said, "Man."
Oh, okay. So Tina,
I'm loving this right now.
Yeah.
Just need you to get it, Jeff. That's all. I don't want anything for it. It didn't cost me anything. I just need you to pick it up, meet me at
Coral women. Really? You're offering women for something? What is this he's getting?
So he put men in a question mark.
Men? Oh, well, there we go.
No,
I'm not here to judge.
Wrong guy.
Yeah. So Tina, I have a Durso set up as well. Okay, so I'm going to go through this super simple. Most reef tanks that you buy that are pre-drilled are set up with two. Okay, so you have a tube to take the water down to the sump and one to return. Yes. And that's called a Durso. Okay, and if you watch the videos on my 20, I have set up what's called an ultra silent or a Herbie overflow. So I have a main siphon and I have an emergency siphon and one return. Okay, now that one's a little easier to tune. I'm not saying it's better. It is quieter, but it's more difficult, right? And when I say difficult, you got to drill a hole. There's things that got to be done a certain way. And then there's the one that's called a bean animal. And a bean animal is basically one full siphon and two emergencies. I don't know, that's just backing yourself up. It's redundancy, right? So if we go back, we know you have a Durso. Okay, you have a single siphon pipe. So what could be happening, and I'm saying this, it's my opinion, just from watching your sump, just from what's been going on. When Dave says tuning doesn't mean the pump. I know it feels like mechanical, but that's not what we're talking about. Is that siphon isn't just, open it up and away you go. There is a certain amount of air to the water that has to be set up, right, for that to work correctly, right? Otherwise, what you get is, we call it surging. So it goes really violent, and then everything goes really well, and everything's fine again. And then it goes really violent, and then, and it just keeps doing it. And it can be every 10 seconds, every 5 seconds, every minute, but there will come a point where you strike balance. So
It creates a siphon, and then it's over. And then it needs to fill up, create a siphon, then it's over. It's like when that last little bit of water leaves your kitchen sink.
Yep.
Makes that gurgle sound. And that's annoying if you got to listen.
It really is. Yeah, it is. So I'll do a video tomorrow of my 120, so you can see how a 120 gallon Durso setup works. And mine, thankfully, the guy I bought it from, he set it up where he did the pipe at the top with a really simple method for the air mixture, right? So when I say mixture, all I mean is that the hole, I can adjust the size of how much air gets through it. Okay, and then you strike a balance between. Mine makes a little noise all the time. That siphon, it bugs me a little, but my wife's in that room and it never bothers her at all. But it does let her know when things are wrong, because all of a sudden, if things get noisy, I have a clog, I have a fish that got stuck in it, whatever the case may be. It lets you know right away. And this is why people like the other overflows, because that doesn't happen. Right? If I start hearing water in my 20 gallon setup, it's because my main siphon is clogged and it's going through my emergency making noise. Okay? So I'll do my best to make it as simple as possible.
I know.
Oh, go ahead.
I know how frustrated. I can see how frustrated she is right now.
I know. Yeah,
I saw it. Put it this way, right? You're trying everything you can. You try this one last way. If it doesn't work out, then then move on. But don't get frustrated. I can just see it.
Yeah. Have a smoke.
Right. It's hard not to. Yeah.
Have a smoke.
But you're doing great.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Yeah,
I'm trying to relax. It's just, you got so many different opinions on what needs to be done.
Yep.
And I feel like a literal dumbass because you got one person saying this, one person saying this, one person saying this, and me, I'm sitting here going, I don't know what to do. Because I don't.
No.
I don't.
Tina, this is all new to you as well. It's all new, right? And I'm going to be the same way.
All right. Go ahead, Dave.
The good news is it's not hurting anything the way it's working right now. There's no water on the floor. The water is being processed through your sump. It's just a little noisy. So don't sweat it.
Oh, now see, the noise doesn't bother me, but some people act like that's, some people, the way I'm taking it, is that some people are just like, well, that's not the way it should run, and
no.
I don't know any better.
Is there only one pipe that brings water from the tank down to the sump? Is there only one, or is there two?
I have no idea.
No, there's only one. I've seen the system.
There's only one. So you may have to deal with it. And what everybody else is saying is maybe if you slow down the amount of water being returned by the pump, it could handle it better. And my opinion is no, it won't. But,
it just makes it take longer.
Billy's a plumber, and Billy's had fish tanks, and he builds them. So I do respect Billy.
Absolutely.
Reefing Billy wants me to raise up. You guys were in here when I put the tank together, right?
Yep.
And that in the corner overflow, it had that lift thing where I had to lift it up or down to adjust the water in the tank.
Yeah.
And when you guys had me lift it up, that it almost flooded the tank. Well, that's what he wants me to do. And I'm like, no.
No.
It feels counterintuitive.
I've already been through that and it almost went over the edge. Why would I want to do that again?
All right.
Normally, if you have two pipes, one of them is always working. And that's the one you would shunt or control with the valve. But only if you have another pipe as an emergency drain. If you do not have the other emergency drain, you cannot tune the one pipe because a snail or something gets in there or it just gets dirty over time, it's going to overflow on your floor.
So I don't want that.
No. So that's why I've been of the tack with you that you got to kind of look at this and just let it go. If it's not flooding right now and it's just being noisy, let it be noisy for a bit. Just sit back, have a smoke, have a coffee, and just, as long as it's not annoying the living bejeegers out of you, just go ahead, Jeff. Nice to see you. See you next time.
Yep. Just think like your tank has a lactose intolerance or something.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's burping. Yeah.
It's got a lot of gas.
Yeah.
It's not hurting anything. Trust us. It's not. Nothing is going wrong here at this point. It's just a matter of getting it You'll strike that balance, it'll stop doing it.
Okay.
I'll show you mine.
All the time. O knows what he knows and what he's doing, but he's really not a handy guy. Got to keep that into consideration. So as far as plumbing and all that, he knows what he knows, but I don't know how else to put it.
I'm trying to sit here and think. I think I might be able to show off my pipe. No, it's too dark. No, it's too dark. I'll do it tomorrow.
Rephrasing,
phrasing. Yeah. That's why I've said a couple of things already, and I should have said phrasing. You got to kind of just take it like it's okay. It really is. Everything is okay. Trust me and Dave on this. It is absolutely okay. The system's fine. And if you're talking, Gina, I'm not hearing you talk.
No, I'm fine. I'm just listening.
Okay.
Water goes down, gets filtered.
You know, that's Rico's favorite thing. Are you listening? Yes, I am.
No, I'm looking at you, and I want to see a smile, because this tank should not be stressing you out.
Ain't got one. Well, it's not necessarily the tank.
Y'all out of fucks to give today?
It's not necessarily the tank that's stressing me out. It's
all right.
It's a combination of things. You know, it is the tank, but it's also, you know, when you got a bunch of different people. I have very bad social anxiety. And like I said, OCD and ADD too. So it's like really hard for me to, you know, like when I take care of Mark, it's me taking care of Mark, just me. I know what I'm doing. But when it comes to this, I don't know what I'm doing, and I have to ask for help. But then I don't want to take that help sometimes. I didn't understand why they want me to yank that sponge out of there. That's supposed to be my mechanical filtration. So I'm trying to wrap my head around this going, okay.
But this is where it comes to, you need to pick like one or two people that you confide helping you, and the way that they're helping you, things are working for you. Having all of these opinions and all of these different people put ideas and different things in your head is just going to lead to problems. So you, like, instead of like, yes, I know you want it done and everything like that, Tina, but just pick the one or two people that are truly giving you the best advice and actually helping you work through it, rather than having these group of guys, yes, they throw way too many opinions and ways of doing things, in my opinion, right? I think for me, when I'm starting my setup, I already know my select few of who I would personally ask. You know what I mean? And if it comes to it, you and one other person or whatever it be should have your own private video where you guys can go back and forth to help you work through it, rather than doing it in a large stream. You know what I mean? Because in a large stream, you're going to have way too many voices. And that's where
that you're going to get me out quite a bit today. It stressed me out quite a bit. I mean, and they're only trying to help, and that's the only, you know, that's the thing I keep telling myself, is they're only trying to help me. And so I'm not, you know, I'm not mad or upset at anybody but myself, because I should be able to figure this out for myself, and I can't.
Can I suggest?
No.
Oh, hold on there. Go ahead, Dave.
If I suggest that you take an hour on a specific day and you try what one person said.
Yeah.
See if it works. Watch the tank. If it gets quieter, if it starts to fill too quick, then go back to the way it is now. Then on another day, pick another hour and try a different approach. But you can always go back to what you're doing right now.
Yeah, they just said I can't do too many things at once, or I won't know what happened if something goes wrong. So that's I'm taking 100% gold, because I've seen that happen already too many times. I'm not going to do anything else with this for at least the next couple of days till the water level comes down, and I see if this ATO works correctly without the sponge in it. That's my first step.
Right.
If it helps any, I do not run socks or sponge of any kind. Unless I'm stirring up the tank and doing something very dirty, I'll lay a little filter floss where a sponge would be, just to collect it. And that's only in there for like an hour or two.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking about that too, but only after I won't even allow myself to go buy. I was at Walmart today and I could have bought the batting, or not batting, but the rolled stuff but I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that until I get this taken care of. And, you know, I'm like, everybody says that, you know, it's okay for I have to keep telling myself it's okay for the sump to be dirty too.
It is. It is. Yep. No, you're good. Listen, in all things, I was listening to that and I could hear your frustration, right? And when we did the ATO that night, it was bugging me more than it was bugging you because.
Yeah. Now, see, I've got that ATO. I've got it down. You know, I can even get in there and put the damn thing in there with one hand now where I couldn't figure it out the first. I've got it figured out. I know it works. I've already done everything that they showed me. You know, what they were telling me to do today, I've already done behind the scenes. They were like, take a bucket, put it in another bucket. I already did that.
Right.
But they weren't listening to me either. So they just try to talk over the top of each other.
I'm saying it from my view with your anxiety and stuff and how you have your ADD and your OCD. Me personally having OCD and social anxiety, I can understand that even like my personality, the type of person I am, and you kind of follow, we're kind of the same person in that sense. I find it better. I learn better and I take information better one-on-one. If I have too many people throwing too many things at me, and I'm just going to get confused and I'm going to get frustrated and I'm going to getting it.
Yep. And I'm a hands-on learner.
It wasn't for them, but it's just you need the more one-on-one, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, look how well it went when we set that ATO up. I felt so vindicated that Brian was going, I didn't realize I had it set up wrong. And I was like, it's okay.
I was just saying, now see, and you know what? And I wanted to say this too, but I didn't want him to get pissed off at me, is that when you guys told me that, and when Reefing with Owen that came in and said that I had it, I went and looked it up myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we had it set up right. I was like, okay, I've already done this, no, dude, you've got it set. I've looked at it myself. It's set up right.
So. Yeah, Reefer Madness knows one thing at least, right? So.
All right, there's your one chuckle for the day.
All right.
Maybe two.
A lot of fucks today.
Yeah, a whole lot of effort forgiven. Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
And you know what? It's okay. And you know what? You just work with it at your pace. Right. That's Lisa's absolutely correct too on that front. We all are, right? We all know what it's like to have 20 chiefs trying to tell you how to do something.
Oh yeah.
It's this hobby is littered with misinformation and littered with, all kinds of stuff and opinions on how to do stuff. And, you've heard Rico say it. You've heard us say it. There's more than one way to skin a cat in this hobby, but there are some things that are a given.
I'm glad I didn't.
The one thing that I take out of this too is that every tank is different. What works for that person's tank is not necessarily going to work for this.
Yeah.
Or it may not tweak the right way. I don't freaking know, but
no, it's going to take time. What were you going to say, Dave?
No, when they were talking about the ATO creating a siphon, I almost jumped in and told everybody to shut up for a minute because I heard that part of the stream.
Oh, it's such bullshit.
And I was like,
I knew it wasn't siphoning. That's the first thing I checked. That is the very first thing that I checked, is to make sure that it wasn't touching the water and that it wasn't siphoning back into the bucket.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's not what's going on.
If two containers of liquid are connected by a tube full of liquid, they will equalize their levels. That's a siphon. That's it.
Yeah. I literally sat here with these doors open, and what these people didn't realize is I didn't sleep for that first night that ATO was on there. I literally sat in front of this stupid tank for 12 hours watching it.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally. I sat there it was 12 hours at least that I sat there watching it, and it kept running and doing its thing. And then I went to bed the next night, and my husband wakes me up in the middle of the night. You need to go downstairs and stop that beeping. I come upstairs and saw the beeping going on and figured out that the first pump stopped working. So
yeah,
I just hooked it up to the new pump I didn't really know that the first pump wasn't working until I hooked up the other pump. When I hooked up the new one, it kicked back on and started working. So I'm like, oh, well, this one died like Brian said it might. So
Yeah.
once it kicked back on, I went back to bed, didn't even think anything of it. You know, I watched a couple of cycles and saw, okay, it did okay, blah, blah, blah. I'm going back to bed.
Mhm.
I come home that afternoon, and that's when I noticed that the it had backed all the way up past the line. I was like, oh boy, something's wrong. So
Right.
there I got a little bit complacent, but I probably couldn't have kept a better eye on it. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? You probably kept too much of an eye on it, but you absolutely caught it. So, no, it's and that flow valve probably shut it off, right? The white one on top. That's what its whole job is to prevent you from, kicking your salinity down to levels that would make you cry, right?
Well, actually, yeah, because see, it was covered. It wasn't covered up all the way completely, but the water had gone up above that, up to the middle of that float valve.
Just to the middle, yeah. So it would have caught it, right? That's its whole job, to shut the pump off so it doesn't actually go too much further.
Yeah.
And when it's coming to this other thing, you're right in the right spot. If you took the sponge out like Aaron's aquarium, Mike said, right, and it's not flipping out too bad right now.
No, it's doing about the same thing. I mean, it's burping a little bit more, but
right.
There's no sponge there to stop it from doing that so much.
Then
I mean, it's just bigger bubbles.
Then I will make you a video tomorrow specifically on the Durso, right? So what I'll do is step by step my setup, right, and show you what I did. And there's more than one way to do a certain part, and I will bring it up at that point. But it's a video with nobody else talking about it. You can watch it. I'll take the heat on anybody calling me bullshit or whatever on it, because I have it. It works right here. I'll make that video and show you exactly, because you have the exact same setup. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It is a single overflow with a single return is what you're running. So that's a Durso. That's what it's called. Marineland, all these other companies, when they put out a tank, this is how they set them up. Right? So I'll show you mine and you'll show me yours. Aha. Right? So
you're going to go there.
All right. Yeah, you knew it, right? You just knew I was gonna, right? So I'll do that.
How as far as like the airline and stuff, though, wouldn't that get pinched off with the glass lids being laying on it?
It depends how heavy it is. There's ways to get around that. And again, without seeing your setup completely in the light, and we'll deal with that when it comes, right? I'll show you what's going on. Mine sticks up out of the top. So I'm lucky in that regard. I don't have to deal with that.
Mine doesn't. Mine sits just under that glass lid.
Right. Right. So that's what we're going to have to deal with at that point if we think that's what it is. Right? It may not be, but it really, to me, sounds like that. Okay? Just what you're describing. I went through that. Oh, the first time I turned... Listen, if I could ever tell a story that probably would help you in this situation, when I first set this tank up, I literally was bugging the guy I bought it from for hours about surging. Hours, because I couldn't get it under control. And I hate Dursos for that reason. Yep. My ultra silent, and you know what? I'll even add in the video my ultra silent and tell why I like this better. It doesn't mean you can do that because you're already set up. It is a lot more difficult to do in a setup tank. In fact, it's damn near impossible. But just as a kind of a, this is why people go this route. And what I'll do is, and I will show from top to bottom, into the sump, into my return, everything that I'm dealing with, with that setup and how I dealt with getting rid of that exact problem. And then you can assess for yourself, is that what's going on? And I can even make it freak out so that you can see what happens when it starts to freak out.
Okay.
Freak out.
So that's what it's doing. The tank's it's freaking out.
Right. It's exactly what Dave said. So if you think about it, the water's filling up in that pipe. And then once gravity kicks in, it flushes itself like a toilet. It's exactly what's happening. Right. And if that is it, right, and I will stand in front of every one of those guys and go, not only will I tell you you're wrong, I'll punch you in the face and we'll get down and dirty with it. I'll call them right out on it. Because no matter what you do with a pump, if that's what's going on, it's going to keep going on. It'll just vary how frequent.
It's actually how aquaponics drain out. They fill up, drain out, fill up, and drain out.
Yep. So we'll leave it at that. I think you just need to relax and enjoy the beauty of the dark tank, as I like to call it.
Yeah. I'm watching it right now.
Yeah.
Jeff, is that a new little setup or is that the same tank that you just moved?
That's the new tank that I won at Reefapalooza last year.
I hate
Nice.
is that an Innovative Marine?
It's a JBJ.
JBJ. Okay.
Nice.
I'm getting coffee. Do you know why? Because I can.
I don't dare even try drinking coffee this late at night. I'll never get to sleep.
I got
Me
an
too.
early one tomorrow.
Do you, Dave?
But I did just finish a coffee. I worked hard today. I'll no trouble sleeping.
I just finished an apple. What is that? The apple cider orchard, whatever the hell they are.
Yeah, they sell men's drinks. Where you got that?
I like the girly drinks. I like the girly drinks. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah. I had to. You know that. You know me, Jeff. I couldn't make that. House looks nice, Jeff. I like the faux finish on the wall. Very faux.
Yeah, it's actually painted or whatever.
Yep. I know. I did my whole basement like that when I was in Vernon. Me and my wife were doing it, and she kicked me out. Because we both had a different technique apparently, and it looked horrible. But it was the same color. It was the same color. It's very, very coffee.
Yeah, it looks nice. I don't mind it. The wife doesn't like it all that much, but it's nice.
Right.
I can show you guys the main level and the basement, but everybody's sleeping upstairs. That's the disaster of a kitchen.
Oh, that's nice.
It's nice you got an island. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just got everything moved in on Thursday and unpacking for the past few days, so everything's just a disaster.
Yeah. They got some move-in garbage going on. I know. The boxes.
Yeah.
Right, the dreaded boxes. I just moved too, so I get it.
Stay boxes everywhere.
For the kids.
Yeah, that's nice.
Dining.
The dining room. I feel like I've been in this house.
You probably have. You probably put in the surveillance system.
Well, I worked at ADT, so there's just so many layouts, when you work years and years residential installation.
Yeah, that's all my stuff.
Nice.
Looks like my garage right now.
At least you got a garage.
Yeah. Yeah, once all the stuff's out of there.
Oh, very nice. What's in the fridge?
This is where I'm going to need down here is where I'm going to need your help, Dave.
Oh, why?
That's a nice built-in unit right there.
How's your husband feeling?
Camera 2 now.
It just did you see it just do it? The screen up here goes blank like every couple minutes, and I have no idea why it's doing it.
Where is that camera? Is it outside?
This one's outside at the front door, and it goes like every couple minutes it blacks out and then it comes back on.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell's wrong with that thing.
Could be a couple of things.
Miss Lisa, how is your husband?
He's doing a little bit better. I took him back to the doctor this morning, and they gave him heavier anti-inflammatories and muscle relaxers and pain meds. So he was actually able to walk around and stuff and got into the bath and stuff. So
that's nice.
Right. Well, I'm gonna give him a couple more days, but I'm gonna kind of push. They're waiting for the swelling to go down to do a MRI because of how his right side of his back is like triple the size of his left.
Man.
Yeah. So they want to wait till the swelling goes down a little bit, and then I'm gonna push for the contrast MRI just to see, because he's like dragging his left leg. So the swelling is on his right side, but he's like, his left leg is like almost like a limp, like a gimp leg,
Is that my room, Jeff?
This one is right here.
All right.
Nice. No.
Oh, I know that TV's heavy. I seen that.
What's that?
I know that TV's heavy.
Yeah. I'll be getting a flat screen for the wall. The guy actually left me the surround sound system because it's all hardwired into the wall.
Nice.
So he left the whole
Okay.
surround sound system for me, and then I'll plan on putting probably maybe like 50-inch on that wall there.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Look at all that beautiful room for a tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gonna go. Once I get a bigger tank, I think it's gonna go on that wall.
Yeah. Look,
Yeah.
2 plugs. Yeah.
I think that's
in the little
perfect.
closet there. What's in the little closet? Like a well pump or something?
Over here, well, the well pump's in the other corner. This is the laundry room.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's nice size.
Yeah, laundry room's in here, and then the well pump is on. Well, the sump pump. The sump pump and all the other stuff is in this room.
Yep.
Very nice. Very nice. Hey, look, automatic ATO, solenoid run. Too easy.
Motor softener, yeah.
The lights on the other room.
So Tina, my wife said I handled you very well. She goes, "You're so calm. Why aren't you like that with me?" So, because you're my wife, of course, I'm going to freak out more. Now she's OCD. I can't even change the layout of the tank with her around.
Oh yeah, I still, I don't know. Maybe it's because I can't control.
That's your
like
fish.
a lot of no. Well, I mean, like with my father-in-law and stuff, and everything that he went through, having to be tube fed and having to have a Foley catheter and all these procedures all the time. The things that go on with Mark, and I have no control over any of that.
Yep.
I have to have control over something, and this is really the only thing that I can. I mean, and I can't even control that. Look, I'm failing.
No, you're not failing. Not at all. Nothing's failed. Are the fish
You've done
alive? Is the
great.
system running? You're doing fine.
Yeah.
What you have, think of it like this. Remember when cars had carburetors?
Yeah, I do. My dad.
Exactly. We've all been in them. This hasn't been that long. If they were out of adjustment, the car wouldn't work right. It still worked, but it wouldn't work right.
Nah,
You know what I mean, per se. Not even to put that a fine point on it with a tank. But your tank is running. You just, right at the moment, it's not nice and smooth. It's working.
Jeff, what's with the freaking swords on the floor?
My husband has swords just like that.
I've had these forever.
He has one on
I
a
don't-
black
I've probably
too.
had these. I've had these for like
Duel when I
15
come over?
years. Yeah, I've had those forever. I got them from my grandfather that passed away, and I've had them for forever, and I've just never had a place to put them or display them or anything. So
Looking
that's
good,
gonna be
man.
what-
Looking
That's what this
good,
room
though.
is going to be for. This is going to be like my display room for all my sports memorabilia and whatever else.
That's
he's
my
got
desk.
himself a little man cave.
Yeah. I'll even show you my toys. I have toys, folks. I collect toys.
If anybody remembers the movie Rudy.
Yep.
You probably This is
Yes.
This is Rudy Rudiger's actual signature,
Oh wow.
Sweet.
and then the king underneath.
Are any of you guys going to be going down to Tidal Gardens in July?
Trying to.
My
I want
daughter,
to.
my daughter
I
and my husband say I have to go because I have to do something for myself. I don't.
Dave, are you going?
I don't know. Like to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
my opinion. I'd like to. It's not the shortest trip in the world for me.
Me
I think I looked
neither.
it up. It's 17 hours drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's about 7 hours for us, Dave. Probably 7 hours or so.
Well,
Yeah, I think Rico figured it out and said it well. When it was Rico saying that he would come up and visit Mark or whatever, he said about 4 hours. So I'm thinking
Here,
it's
I
probably
have
going
a
to be
plan.
3.5. It might be 3.5 for me because of where I live.
I
I'm
can drive.
closer
I
to-
can drive to Dave, and Jeff is there too, right? Craig, you can come with me, right? We'll go meet Dave and Jeff,
There
and we'll
you
all
go.
drive together.
There'd be that little Canadian New Jersey crew there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really wanting to go, but I got my daughter's birthday is the 28th, and my wife's birthday is the 27th. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah,
That's a rough weekend. Yeah, to then say I want to do something for me. Screw you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
That won't work
See,
out.
I told my daughter, I think I'll probably end up driving down there, and then I'll be so scared or whatever. I'll just sit in the car. She's like,
no. That still works for me, Lisa.
Yeah, drive and meet you, and we'll buddy down. Why not?
You know what's funny is that Lisa, you'd have a shorter trip to pick up Tina because she's in Michigan, right?
Yeah, I'm 25 minutes away from the Indiana border.
Yeah, so you just head on down to Sault Ste. Marie in Windsor and cross over into Detroit and drive quickly.
There's David.
But you know what? I mean, if I can, I will. My wife says we should because I wanted to go to the Canadian Grand Prix. Next weekend, guys, next Sunday. I'm not here. It's the Australian Grand Prix. It's the opening of the season. It's going to be wicked. I know it is. So I'll be here probably at some point, but there will be me watching that race first. I go blackout on the internet because everybody likes to talk, right? I don't want to hear about it. I record it. I sit down at my leisure and watch it, blah, blah, blah. And that's a huge hobby of mine. And I said, but we can't really afford to go to that. The weekend in Montreal that the Canadian Grand Prix is on, it is, I think I figured out it was going to cost me about $1,200 minimum just to do it. And that's without any passes or anything else. And that's without good seats. So, maybe be about $2,400. And I figured out if I want to go down to that at Tidal Garden with hotels and everything, it would cost me probably $1,000 less. So
who needs a hotel when you got a tent?
Yeah,
come on, you're Canadian. What's wrong with you?
No, you give me an RV, I'll think about it, but not a camper, man. I did that in the military. I'm done sleeping on the ground. Thank you very much. But no, look at all that room. God damn, man, I hate your guts. Look at sink right there. I mean, gee, my God, a table next to the sink.
The woman that lived here cut hair out of the house, and this is where she did her hairstyling.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that cleanup sink, guys. Look at it.
Cool.
The head sink, yeah, I see it.
Yep, yeah, it's a head sink. But
that's an expensive sink,
She goes, when we were looking at the house, she goes, I've always wondered what somebody's going to be using that sink for. I said, fish slop sink. All right, she goes, all right, I never thought of that one.
Yeah. Replace it. Get a good proper sink in there.
Yeah. Sell that one off too. Sell it, man, because those are, like Lisa, they're expensive.
Those are worth. Those are worth some money.
Yeah, I'm in the beauty industry. I'm a makeup artist, and my girlfriend, she just purchased a space for the salon, and she literally, I was disgusted at how the price of those sinks and the chairs, like how much they cost. Like, it's disgusting.
Money meant nothing to these people. The husband was the general manager for Maserati USA.
Oh, jeez. I want to be friends with him. I love Maseratis, man.
Yeah, he had a brand new Maserati in the garage and a brand new Mercedes CLK AMG in the garage. Dude had probably $100,000 in watches in his master bedroom.
Oh, jeez.
Which I'm assuming why that's there.
Well, good for you. I love that. I wish no ill to people like that. He earned it, of course. Hopefully.
I mean, the price of this house really wasn't that bad. I mean, the thing is, these people, anything they did to this house, they did it to the max, and they overpriced the house for the area.
Yeah.
So they started out at $350, and we chewed them down to $310.
That's not bad though.
Nice.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Not for the area. No.
Yeah.
I mean, if you move this house a couple miles away to Sparta, this is a $500,000 house.
Yep. Absolutely. No. So look at that. So and that's just it. I live in a 1,200 square foot apartment. That's all I've got to work with, right? But it's enough. I tell people you don't need all that room. It depends, right? Like, we had a 55-inch TV next to the fish tank, and it was still technically, my 120 was bigger than my TV. And the wife looked at me, why do we have this? She goes, all I ever do is wash the tank. And I went, well, it's up to you. We can sell it. And then we kind of missed it. And I said, well, she won a TV. We literally sold that TV and she won a TV 2 days later. So we sold the 55 and she won a 50-inch at work. So what we did was put it in the bedroom so I can watch Archer huge. So.
Yeah, we had, I think our townhouse was about like 1,300, 1,400 square feet, and it was a 2-bedroom townhouse. And it's like that townhouse was perfect when it was just my wife and I, and then Madeline came along, and it started getting a little tight, but it still worked. Like it was, still a good size. But then as soon as Abigail came along, it was
game over.
Yeah, you couldn't move anymore in the house. So, we started looking. And this kind of fell on our lap. So
yeah.
What size is square footage is that?
I believe it's 1,900 square feet, but not including the basement. So like the first 2 levels, the main level and the upstairs is 1,900, and then I don't even know what the basement is.
My house is like 26 with the top, like just the main and the upper, and then the basement. I don't even think they counted that.
Yeah, no, they don't. They normally don't count the basement in the square footage.
Yeah, I'll have to give you guys a tour of my house one day. Jeez.
I was just thinking that I should show. I think I have. I think if you watch one of my videos, I kind of show from the dining room into the living room. What it was is when they built these, they were 4 apartments per floor. And then they decided that they'd knock out the middle wall and make it 2 apartments per floor. So I have the combination of 2 apartments, right? So
I'll have to see.
I love how they have those wood beams and like the natural wood look. Yeah. Jeff, that's a really nice feature.
I'll have to see. Don't paint those. I'll have to see if the backlight can show you guys the special feature of the house.
Oh, there we go.
I'm not sure if it's going to work.
They just covered the lolly column in wood.
Has an ingrown pool or something, doesn't it? He didn't say anything. It is. It totally is.
Yeah, here's the big jelly thing coming up. Yeah, we'll all be jealous.
Yeah, jacuzzi.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the backlight's out.
Don't go out there.
Pool.
It's a pool? I was so right. Ding, 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 ding.
Don't go out there. The bears are waking up, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing the back.
All the neighbors have chains on their garbages, so I was like, great, I guess I have to jerry rig something now.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff will have that night where it's like his wife will go, what's that bear doing in our pool? I think it's the backstroke, honey.
Oh,
no.
Yeah, what's the bear doing in your pool? That's your husband.
That's your husband, yeah.
Did you guys see that the most Canadian way to get a bear out of your yard? It's like, excuse me, bear, you need to leave now. I need to go to work. And the bears look at him and then leave. It was so funny.
It's really funny that we talk about that. Every place has its wildlife you have to deal with. And the funny part is I had a friend who was in Churchill, Manitoba, teaching. And the funny part with Churchill, Manitoba was the how to deal with polar bears pamphlet you get when you move in. And he went, what?
Bears?
Polar bears, right?
Yes, fuck that.
Guys, right? And
that's no bueno.
So it's minus 50 on average in the winter there, Celsius. Okay, that's like almost the same in Fahrenheit. And he one day opened his door, and there was a polar bear sitting in front of his door, right there. He said, "I just slowly closed the door, locked the door, thinking that isn't going to stop him." And there's a number you call. And they literally come with this huge off-road vehicle and scare the bear away and then knock on the door and say, you can go to work now. Imagine having to deal with that.
Way.
Right?
The biggest animal that I've ever encountered was a moose. That's the biggest animal I've ever seen in my life. Yeah.
They get big.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in New Brunswick.
And they're fucking mean. Moose are not nice at all.
I guess they're
not.
I don't think I ever heard Lisa drop the F-bomb, so I guess they're mean.
They are mean.
Oh, thanks, Bubba. Or Reefer. I was on it, but.
Hey, guys, I'm going to go ahead and take off. We got an early morning.
All right, Tina. Remember, don't listen to everybody. Pick your somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So got to figure out who that somebody is.
All right. Well,
that's
you've been
for
reported
you.
for that, so
I love everybody. I hate that. I don't want
thanks
to
for
do
hiding
it.
them out, Bubba. I also reported them.
Well, and like how Dave said, like try somebody one for one day, 1 hour, whatever. Right? There's multiple great knowledgeable guys that are part of this community. So
yes,
you just
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And that's where my anxiety kicks in.
Yeah.
Just don't overwhelm yourself with the multiple people in the streams at one time for info. Like maybe like private message somebody or like, exchange emails with somebody, like something like that route.
Yeah.
They all are trying to help,
They definitely are. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then pride kicks in, and that makes it ugly.
Yeah.
And I've seen it happen before. I've sat there in the chat watching bad information go on live, and it's just like, no, don't do that, don't do that. And then, well, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We're all here. I love it when it's supportive. There just comes a point where it's almost, I guess for lack of a better word, too much support. You know what I mean? Where somebody's like, I know how to fix that problem, and they got to jump in, and you end up with this, the case of too many chiefs, not enough Indians, for lack of a better saying, too many captains, not enough, cooks, whatever the case. And it's like, you got to kind of take it with, people don't always handle that so well.
Right.
There's just too much going on for everybody, right? Me and Dave have had many conversations about that where, you're trying to help somebody and there's 20 other people trying to help. And it's like, that's the hard part with these streams. To control that is damn near impossible. You know what I mean? It really is, right? You can only tell people to shut up for so long before now they don't want to be around you. Well, you told me to shut up. Well, I'm sorry, your feelings were hurt. You know what I mean? Everything will resolve itself. The hobby is literally a lesson in patience. The more patient you are, the easier it is to deal with things in the first place. There's no magic bullets here. There's no magic anything.
Yeah.
My 20-gallon tank that is nice and dark there in the corner, I dealt with it. Everyone could actually see it for the most part till the blues really kind of kicked in. But I can deal with it that way. Would I tell everybody to do it that way? If I think you have the experience, I will tell you how to do it. But I don't tell people that have no experience how to do it, because you can screw up your tank really, really fast with peroxide. Really quick. Like, you can do epically bad things to the water. And I know how to deal with it if it happens, right? Hey, Mage, it really is more, and I'm patient with it. I have done this, and I have waited now a week. I will then move on to the next part. I know guys that would go in there and like, oh, well, if Craig did it this way, I'm just going to do the whole thing at once. And then their tank crashes, and who's to blame? Oh, well, man, it's your fault. I did it. I didn't make you put it in your tank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I did not come into your house and physically do that. It's not my fault. I told you what I did. And if you want to try it, I gave you some suggestions. But if you went and did completely the opposite or went too far from what we, me or Dave or Rico or anybody has suggested, then that's not on us. You know what I mean? That is definitely on yourself. And patience would definitely be the better option here. But man, that's I told the wife, she's like, you do pretty good with it. You try not to be too forceful, and you warn people it can be bad to do it and whatnot. And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess.
Hey guys, I think I'm done tonight.
Well, Dave, it is
all right, Dave.
The wee hours of the morning.
I'm gonna head on out. I'm gonna head on out too.
Have a great night, Dave. And Tina.
Sounds good, Dave. Thanks for
Bye,
dropping in, my
guys.
friend.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
I'm still going to hang here for a little bit. Bubba's in. I want to talk to him. Mage just showed up. So, but Tina, you have a good night, dear, and I will make that video for you, dear. So, hopefully that helps her out a little more. And blah 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 blah.
Yeah, she needs the more one-on-one, definitely.
Yeah, if I show her mine, which is the exact same thing, and say, look, I can make it do it. Turn the my air up and watch it do the exact same thing, and it's like, there it is, right? I could adjust that pump all day long and it's not going to make a difference. Then maybe that'll help her out, or she'll say that's not what mine's doing, and great, now we can move on. All the ones that are talking about it being the standpipe, you're wrong, because we've already seen that it's not, right? So
my approach to this whole thing, like there's some things that I'd involve a lot of multiple people in giving me advice, but then there's some things where I know I would do better with more on like a one-on-one or two-on-one combo where we can kind of bounce ideas off one another, not so overwhelming, so to speak. But
that's hilarious. I just was talking muted. I'm such a dope owner sometimes. No, and that's maybe why my streams gained a little traction, just because it's a little later. There's a few less people in here. It can get a little more one-on-one.
Yeah.
And it's not 20 people trying to jump in. And again, it's not anybody's fault. No one's wrong per se. It's just it's hard for somebody to take in 20 people trying to talk at once, and some of them very experienced people.
That's right. Like when they get going on a topic, they they're fully adversed in knowledge in that area. So their conversations with one another and bouncing ideas, like the average new bear wouldn't quite understand exactly what route they're going with it. But I absolutely adore this community just for the sense that they're there's so many of you willing and wanting to take that time and effort to help and guide all of us newbies through it.
There's the pool. Look at the pool. Look at the pool.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, I hate you. Oh, it's not an in-ground. It's above ground, but it's decked.
Yes, mate. Exactly. You ask for help, you're going to get it. And that's what I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to let the light warm up, apparently. It's like one of those halogen bulbs or whatever.
No, it's an arc. Wow. Whatever. I forgot. It's an arc sodium. Yep. That'll be expensive to fix. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, the
beautiful.
The one over the garage are out.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how he lagged out because he's outside. That's hilarious. Yeah. Nice, man. That's beautiful. It really is. Congratulations is all I can say.
Such a beautiful house.
Thank you.
And I hate you.
Appreciate it. Yeah. I took the cover off yesterday because the wind has been so bad here that the cover was starting to rip. So I said, screw it, I'll just take it off. And then all of a sudden we're going to get 10 inches of snow tomorrow.
So now you got to put it back on.
No, I'm not putting it back on.
No, you know what?
I was like, screw it.
Yeah, exactly. The only difference will be you'll have to shock the pool in the spring. Whoopee.
Yeah, I was planning on shocking it anyway because screw it, but
no.
At least it'll be full of water. I don't have to fill it with water.
Nope, not at all. How you doing there, Mage? Haven't seen you in a little while, actually.
I love Mage. She's like the most freaking, straight to the point person. Yeah. She's awesome.
I'm pretty straight to the point. What the hell are you trying to say?
I mean, a woman just telling the guys how it is straight out. She doesn't give two shits who you are. She's just like, no.
No, I'm not into that either. I'm not into pumping my own horn. Any of that. It's just not worth it. This hobby it just doesn't suffer foolishness in the first place. But that being said, it does suffer foolishness with the people in the hobby for some reason. And that's like any hobby. When I was in music, really involved and really doing that, the whole thing. Let's just say I've met some people that I would definitely not want to be in the same room with again. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you develop, I have my own anxieties about people, and it's more from that than anything else. It's just, I don't like being around people in large crowds now, especially. I can do it. I don't freak out. I don't go all spastic and fetal and whatnot. But if I can avoid it, I will.
That's exactly the way I am. When I was younger, crowds didn't bother me at all. But it was since I had kids, did I really start getting nervous around big crowds, because I'm always concerned about their well-being and how, the world is a very different place from when I was a young girl to now. And it's just that I think that's where my anxiety truly stemmed from.
No, stranger danger is not what it is, but I understand parents that have that problem.
Yeah.
You know, it's, I'm the kid that grew up. If you ever saw the meme and it says, "This is how we rolled in the 70s," and it shows the kid jumping his big wheel. Have you ever seen that one? That was me.
Yeah.
If I could find a way to screw myself up, I was going to do it. And damn, I used to call my little brother my stunt pilot. So if we thought it was too dangerous for us, we'd slap a hockey helmet on him and throw him down the hill. Right? And if he made it down okay, then we did it, right? That's how we roll, right?
No, that's how I grew up. My parents in the bush. We we were out all day, all night.
Yeah.
But now, especially, I don't know. And by no means do I hold my kids back from having, a social life, but it's just I make them very aware of the dangers of what could potentially happen. And especially online you can see actually the predators and stuff now.
Oh yes.
And in our area alone, it is disgusting. So I'm just no, I don't want you going in without anybody. You are to have a friend with you at all times. Let me know where you are.
Yep. And it's understandable. You know what I mean? It is, but there has to be a point, right? But I'm never even going to debate that. How you want to raise your children. It's like, how do you want to raise your tank? Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
You're going to do it your way and make it work for you with your input from other people. So it's the way it is, right? But parenting's different, right? I get it. I tell people that my mom raised us a certain way, and that's the way it is. Can't jump in at the moment, watch TV with the wife. Well, tell your wife that. No, I'm kidding. No, I just put it up there in case Mage.
You got to. You got to stay on the good side.
Yeah, I got to stay on the good side, man. They get angry. I know mine's in there thinking, when's he gonna get off?
Mage, I'm telling Bubba.
Yeah. No, I needed this, man. I'll tell you, I'm feeling a little better. I think it was. I ran out of my blood pressure meds on Friday when I was in Halifax, and there was no easy way to get them filled. So I ended up calling my doctor, and he said, "Well, I'll have it ready for you Monday." And yeah, first thing I did was go get them, and then somehow forgot to take them again.
Oh, jeez.
Because my sugars were good, so I wasn't feeling really ill or anything. And then, whatever, is still feeling kind of sick from that being down there in that apartment. So I took them, and now I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to feel the way I should feel.
Back to yourself. Yeah.
Somebody's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "You don't know how sick you can feel until your blood pressure is 192 over 102.
Oh, God.
Trust me, you're going to feel pretty piss poor really quick."
My blood pressure only went really that high when I was pregnant, and they couldn't get it down. They couldn't control it, so they induced me to have my son. But I just remember how sick I felt.
Yeah,
with
just
having a blood pressure.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was confused and just nauseous. I didn't so sluggish. My joints hurt. It was crazy.
When I had my heart attack, it was 225 over 127.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that I'm still here is something of a miracle to some people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone's like, "Why?" Because I'm too. What was it? Heaven doesn't want me, and hell's afraid I'll take over.
Yeah. So you had a correction surgery for your heart then?
Yeah, I had a 99% blockage on the third arterial drop, or the LAD, the Widowmaker.
Yeah.
So that's the one I had. It should have killed me. And if it was 1980, it would have killed me because they wouldn't have to deal with it, right? So I got lucky. I found out that me and nitroglycerin don't get along.
I can't take nitro either.
No, makes it gives me such a bad migraine that I would rather die. So
right? Okay, so they prescribed me the nitrous. Mm-hmm. And so every time I felt either my heart going into a really tachycardic rhythm or get a really bad pain in my chest, they told me I had to spray that. And literally, I couldn't, it would make the pain in my front of my head. I couldn't do it anymore. Yeah. I can't take it anymore.
Tylenol 1 with codeine, take 2 when you do the spray, and it will actually take the edge off.
Really?
Yeah, that's the only way I deal with it. So I don't have to do it very often. I don't get angina all that often anymore.
Yeah.
But, you know, the stent in my heart occasionally does make things painful, for lack of a better term. It's not really a pain. It's more of it's just like, you know, this really, it's not, I'm not feeling up to snuff. But yeah, it's, you know, that's why I think I kind of got into the hobby shortly thereafter. I think it really was, I'm going to do this before something happens, because I kept putting it off. I put it off for 15 years. I'm kind of glad I did, because the technology kind of caught up to the point where you didn't need to have X tank and X equipment just to make the support system. You can do it fairly cheaply. What are you doing to your hair, Mage? I got to know.
She must be doing like those braids or something, those really tiny braids.
Or some.
No, they're like what are they called? The really, really thin braids. Yeah.
Oh, like with the beads on the end? Bo Derek style?
Well, no, they're just really, really thin braids. Like they look like just like, you know, just very thin braids. That's what I would assume she's doing
really
if it's
strands,
taking her a long
I think I
time.
got
Yeah.
It. Cool.
She's going to be hot to trap.
Yeah, but she can kill you by whipping her head around too.
That's amazing. It's a weapon.
It's her weapon. Take you down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, you know, when it comes
Marley Twist. That's what she's doing. It's called Marley Twist.
Twist. I'll have to look that up. I think I know which one that is. Yeah. Yeah. I rocked a mullet in the 80s.
My hair is actually my hair is really long, but it's thin. Nano braids challenge.
There we go. Good. No, I'm actually I'm gonna get a webcam so that I'm actually faced on here and the tanks, and I've been putting it off because one, I look like hell right now. My hair just so needs a cut. Yeah, it's amazing that at 46 I just don't care anymore. It's got to be because I got a great wife and I don't have to look pretty anymore to catch a lady. But I've shaved the sides of my head since 1985. It's always been shaved. Yeah, always.
So you've had the same hairstyle?
I'd lost track. Even when I had long hair, right up to the temple, my head was shaved all the way to all the way around. And it just made it easier to deal with having long hair. My hair used to be down to my butt. I had 3 ponytails at one point, right? And yeah, where it looks really good when you're rocking, it's not so great to sleep in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I cut my own hair. I cut my kids' hair. I cut everybody's hair in my family.
Yeah.
I'm not even a hairdresser. I just know how to cut hair.
I like how it's telling me I got to sign into my own chat.
You know, mine's been doing that too, and I don't understand. I'm like, I haven't even logged out of anything.
Yeah. Wow. There we go. Put me back in. Anyway, how's the lagoon coming, Mage?
Oh, Mage is doing a lagoon?
She has
so
a 25.
Jealous.
Yeah, she's doing a lagoon tank. YouTube sucks. You got it.
Shit. I like the lagoon style tanks are so gorgeous. It's probably like one of my favorite setups is those lagoons or the low boys. Like, you know, who was that? Sharbuckle, is that his name? He has a low boy reef tank. It looks absolutely phenomenal.
Then it's Miss Risa. I'm thinking. I'm sorry, Death Mage. It's Miss Risa that's got the lagoon then.
Oh, yeah, Miss Risa has a lagoon.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Death Mage, she was doing a lagoon. You got me all excited there for a second. I was like, yes, another one.
It's late. I haven't had enough tobacco and caffeine. All right. Yeah. So who's hopping in here? Oh, my camera shut off. Look out. Yeah. So, but no, it's definitely you know, I will definitely help Tina out tomorrow. I've got to do that. I'll try to do as comprehensive a video on a Durso standpipe as I can, because that was one of I ran face first into what she's dealing with, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll make a video of it, show it, and if that's it, then it's easy enough to deal with, right? And it was a balance between my pump and between that pipe, but her pump, I don't think so, but we'll see. You know, hopefully my video helps her out and it lets her make a decision that works for her. Yeah. You know, because I can definitely understand, like we were talking about, you know, sometimes when you get 20, 30 people just all spouting, you know, whatever, it's hard to kind of ingest that information.
Yeah, I feel bad because she was really excited about that ATO, and then for it to, like, you know, just give her a bunch of trouble it's always disheartening when things don't work out.
Yeah, it cause and effect, right? So if the something's screwing up, the ATO is only doing its job, right? Oh, the water level's down. I'm gonna spray water. The water level's down.
Right.
Spray water. So
yeah.
But because I have the exact same ATOs, I got 2 of them, and I've had 5 at one point when I was running everything. Yes, I am rolling a smoke. I know it's bad. Had a heart attack. Why are you smoking? Because I want the next one. Yeah. So. But no.
Yeah, Mage. So they were talking about how it's almost like it's burping or something. I think she's just.
Nope. Okay. No, it's her standpipe is filling up and then draining, so she's getting a surge, right? So everything's fine, and then it'll be and it empties out like a toilet, right? And then that causes the ATO at the other end to freak out because the water level keeps dropping, it keeps filling, and then you get the overflow. And then it rinse, cycle, and repeat. So I'm going to make a video about my 120 and its standpipe, because I just did a tank tour. I never even thought to ever talk about the plumbing. You know, I think it's in my mind, and I thought about it when she was talking about it, that the problem is most of us don't. We talk about these big complex manifolds and all that, when really the first part of this is it a Durso? Is it an ultra silent, or AKA a Herbie? Or is it a Bean Animal, a 3-stage drain system, right?
You know, Mage is Mage is saying that her pump is too powerful. And we were honestly talking about that earlier, how her pump may be too strong. But if she only has that one pipe coming down, then she can't really do anything, right? Yeah.
Could be. But first off, you got to eliminate the drain, right? So if it's not draining correctly, or she's got it too closed off, then that pump would be too powerful, right? She could keep dialing it down on the pump till all of a sudden it balances out, but that would never solve that issue, right? And it's a balance. Like me and Dave were saying, it could be both, right? You need to tune the pipe and then tune your pump, right? Now, see, yeah, exactly. Now, when you say you have your DIY overflow, so do you have a full siphon with an emergency for your overflow, or a single siphon, a standpipe? Just curious. With the gate file, sounds like she's got a Herbie, ultra silent, because that's what I have. So if you watch my video on the 20, I don't know if you have, Lisa, or anyone else that's in that chat. No, it's a single full siphon. Okay, so you have a gate valve on a single standpipe? One on each side. Oh, so you got dual overflows, correct?
Corner overflows.
Yeah, so she's got dual overflow system. Yeah, so you have technically a Bean or a Herbie, but you have it in 2 single standpipes. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that would be a little different. Yeah. So your pipe, does it come up and swing over at, like looks like an old timey water pump on both sides, or do you have just? I'd have to see it. I'm not even going to get into that because it's so complicated to talk that one through. But I'll show mine in a video tomorrow for her, and I'm hoping that at least helps her to then explain what hers is doing, and then get what she needs and get it solved, right? And we even told her, again, this is not hurting her tank. It's just noisy. Nothing is happening. in that tank that's bad. It's just noise. That's it. It's not overflowing her tank. It's not causing a bunch of splashing. It's just noisy. That's it. So,
Mage, what size system do you have?
I think hers is, no, I'm not going to say because I'm probably wrong. I think it's 100, but it could be wrong.
Yeah, I think she said 120 one time. I'm not sure. Yeah, see, 125. Yeah, I knew it was somewhere around there.
So if you can imagine, Mage, I have a 120 with a single standpipe overflow. So if it was to be noisy and my overflow is small, right? Everyone's like, what do you mean? In my sump, it is 4x4 by 16. Or sorry, 14. Because I have a 40-gallon sump or a breeder for a sump. So what it is it fills up into this, dumps over into my filter socks down through the bottom and into my skimmer section, over into my refugium, and then back out. So, and, through the baffles and then to the return and out. So when I first set this up, it did the exact same thing. It was running fine and then running fine. And then, and I literally bothered the guy I bought it from for like 9 hours until I got dialed in. And he just laughed at me. He just, hey, what's up, Murph?
Hi, Pat.
Here. We get the man with the plan in here if he wants to. I'll put it up. So, yeah, I think we'll get it resolved. I'm hoping. Because I got her the ATO set up right. They were telling her it was wrong. And whatever, if I was wrong, I was wrong. But you know what? I have the same setup, the exact same ATO, and mine worked fine. So, it was kind of funny.
No,
that,
I don't think they were telling her it was wrong. I think they were just I think they were all brainstorming on what could be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think they were telling her what's wrong. Yeah.
It's
but
one
then
of those
you get, you get the top dogs going off, right? Like,
yeah,
they're all going to figure out, like, they're going to narrow and cut off each thing. Like, okay, could it be this? No, could it be that? Could it be this? And Tina's just sitting there like, I would do the same
head
thing.
Spinning and eyes spinning and trying to take it all in. And how do you take in 30 years of collective, 100 years of collective knowledge and filter that down to your 6 months? It's tough, right? So, what's going on, Pat?
So, guys,
not much. Just sitting here farting around, chatting away, I guess, for a little bit. I'm probably going to cut it off in another less than 40. Probably cut off at 2 my time. So,
awesome.
But it's. We were just talking to Tina, and she was expressing her frustration at the day, and I just told her, I said, you know what? I have the exact same setup. And what I was saying is, I'm just going to make a video of my setup and make it do, I think, what she says hers is doing. And then she can just take that and do with it as she will. Like, if that's what it is, then it's a lot easier for everybody involved to figure out what's going on for her, right? And she may even figure it out herself, right? Because she didn't understand what me and Dave said earlier, you weren't here, about tuning the overflow.
Yeah.
And no one's ever told her that. We tried the first night when she was setting it up, and you could just tell the frustration was there again. And I just backed out at that point. No, let's just leave it alone, right? And I think you were there. We were talking about putting the airline in for her to tune the flow. Were you there?
No, I wasn't there for that one.
And I just sort of backed out.
You had a long day at work, huh?
Sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds like Home Depot kicked your ass.
Yeah.
Home Depot.
Where do you work?
Yeah, Home Depot. No, I work at a box factory.
Oh, that's right. You work at a box factory. That's right. Maybe the look of it.
What's up? I mean, the thing about Tina's setup is it's so hard to see everything with her camera. It's hard to give her good advice. You know what I mean?
Yepper.
So that, and she's got a mirror down there behind her sump. But you're always seeing doubles of everything, or not. Stuff's getting shadowed out. You can't really see it real good.
Yep, exactly.
So, I mean,
all we can do is take it. And I told her, if the setup is a single overflow pipe and then you have a single return, that's a Durso. There's only so many ways to skin that cat. right? So it can only be so many things. And I told her, I said, I'm just going to show you mine. And we all had a good laugh, phrasing, right? And I said, and what I'll do is I'll make it do what she's describing is happening to hers, which when me and Dave were talking is it sounds like it's filling up and then draining down, filling up and draining down. That means you got to tune the pipe, right? You got to get the airflow right. But
if I'm not mistaken, she hard plumbed hers, right?
She
did hard plumb hers.
Nope. I do believe that. Oh, yes. Did she, Lisa? Is it hard plumbed?
She hard plumbed her system, but the ATO part, I don't know. Like, I don't know if she plumbed that. Like
no. That's completely separate. That's independent of that.
Yeah, no, but she did hard plumb her system into her sump. She did.
Right.
So here's the problem that I see with her setup, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but her overflow is on the left-hand side, right?
Yep.
You're looking at the tank, it's on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
She's got it hard plumbed, and the return goes all the way over to the right-hand side of the tank, underneath hard plumbed.
Correct.
So it's trying to fill up that gap, that whole tube full of water, and it burps.
Yep. That's exactly, you got it. So it's going to come down to a tuning, and it's only ever going to work so well because of that, right? Mine's straight down. I think I showed you mine. It's got the 245 straight down in. And
didn't Rico tell her to put like a valve in because of that issue to kind of control that flow
for the return? That was for the pump.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Rico was saying. And the thing is that will work, but you create a head pressure on the pump. So
when she was putting the sump under there, Death Mage gave her really good advice.
Yep.
She told her to turn the sump around so that the filter sock was on the right hand side because she wanted to use a filter sock.
Yep.
And now she's to the point where she don't need the filter sock, or she's not going to use it, so she should theoretically just turn it back around and have less plumbing.
I agree. Yeah, if she drained the sump and turned it around,
straight shot down. Yeah.
Yep, it'll make it straight much easier.
This is why the number one reason I ain't doing a sump right off the bat. No way.
You know what's funny? No, she won't drain it. No, Mage, and that's just it. That's why I don't jump on her for that, because it would be easier. We all know it would be, but her way about her would make that very hard on her and stressful, right? And it's like, oh, okay, well, we got to make this work. So even though I can make mine do it, it will be moderately different because of that run. Right, that pipe will never stay fully full. So she's got to put up with a moderate amount of noise, but not surging. We can make it not surge.
So does she actually have her sump backwards, or is it like is it the way she is that the way it's supposed to be?
No, it should be reversed. It should be the other way. Honestly, It should be, but it will work that way. It just will have what I just said. Even though we might tune the pipe and stop the surging, it will be a little noisier than it would be if it were straight.
I see.
Yeah, because when she first got the tank, she had this big old long flexible hose, and Death Mage was like, "Well, just turn around so you can still use a filter sock."
Yep.
And which she was absolutely correct on telling her that. You know? So, now that she's not going to use the filter sock or nothing, or use the flex pipe, she should just theoretically just turn it
around. You got it. Turn it around. But I said it before.
Well,
go ahead.
Realistically, you'd probably want the less pipe, the better, because of the flow of the water. That's what I would think, anyway. Right? Like, I don't know. This whole something, no bueno. I'll go.
It's so much easier than this, though. It really is, right? Like, you watch my videos on the 20. I'm running an ultra silent overflow. Excuse me, sorry. It really is easy. It really is, right? But the problem is getting to the tuning, right now I have a ball valve. I'm going to replace it with a gate valve eventually here. I just couldn't get one that locally. And a gate valve just lets you tune it ever so much more, much finer adjustment. So when I turn my ball valve, I can make it go to the emergency overflow and go down too much, or I can turn it down and then it's a little too low and creates a noise. So it lets me kind of close enough. A gate valve will let me get it right in between. That's there. That's just an equipment thing. I told her to turn around because she could have a story from. So Mage, you're correct. No, the minute Pat just said that, and then I read what you said, it banged right on. We are dealing with tuning. It's not the pump; it's the tuning. Her pump is, if it's not overflowing the top and it's draining fast enough, you know what I mean? Like it falls right into this weird middle territory with doing the Durso standpipe, because that's what this is called. I will stand here and vehemently argue that point. If you have a single pipe and you have a single return, that is a Durso. You have a modified Durso, I do believe they call it, because you got 2 pipes and 2 returns, correct? On your 125? And we wait 30 seconds.
I think
she's coming in. Oh, she's coming in. She's going to smack me down. Here we go.
She has another tank set up, right?
Who?
So couldn't she transfer Tina? She could transfer all the fish into that.
Doesn't need to. No, doesn't need to. You just turn off the return. No, you turn off the return pump, and that's it. It'll stop at some point, and then you just drain the sump, fix it, and put it back together. She doesn't need to do that. Yeah, I know.
Okay. I thought it was more complicated than that. I'm like, okay, is all the water going to drain out? Like, is that the problem? Like, I don't understand here.
But then she'll have to she'll have to hard plumb it, but she'll use less pipes.
Yep.
Well, just cut it and redo it.
I know.
Like, just, right? Yeah. That's
Okay,
what I would do it.
Here's the problem, Lisa. She's got her tank's a 75 gallon, so it's like 18 inches tall. So she's got 18 inches worth of water flowing down that pipe, and then it's pushing over and underneath her sump for like 3 or 4 foot. So she's getting big air bubbles in there, and it's burping out. You know what we're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, when I show the video,
like in the scenario I would just, as you said, like turn off that return, drain the sump, turn it around, cut that plumbing, make it shorter, and then go from there.
She needs to.
Yeah, if that can't be done, there you are. Go ahead, Mage. We'll shut up for a minute. Go ahead.
All right. So the only time I helped Tina with the tank was the time she first set up the sump, and she had it turned the other way, where the return was all the way on the other side from where her overflow was.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so she wanted to run that long pipe, and it was going to be bending and looping going back to the return. So I told her, I said, well, usually you want to have a straight pipe going from the return. I said, can you flip it? Because it seemed to me when I looked up her sump, she was concerned about the sump socks. So I said, well, that part where the sump socks are at, it looks like you can move that. So if you can move that to the other side, you can flip that sump around.
Yep.
And then the flex hose will go directly into the sump socks, and then you would have that straight pipe going up from the return to your overflow. Because her return is coming through that, right? That however that overflow is set up.
Yeah.
So now I didn't know. I just heard about her having a gurgle sound, but I remember on that stream, they were talking about her pump, and it looked like it was a little too powerful for her 75 gallon. I have a 75 gallon as well, but I use a DC pump.
Yep.
And my DC pump, I have to turn it all the way down. But she has no adjustments but for what C-Che gives her it's like this little dial that's on the pump.
Yeah, it's a little suction dial. Yeah.
Right. You can't tune it that much unless you're using a gate valve. So I said, well, why don't you put a valve on there? But she didn't want to hard plumb it at first, right? Mm-hmm. So I just left it alone because I'm like, well, you're gonna, you do whatever's best for you. My suggestion is to hard plumb it and put a gate valve on that return, because that's the only way you're gonna be able to control that return pump.
Yep.
because my 125 has 2 corner overflows. Now my tank is weird setup. I bought it from somebody. They drilled it. My tank is not drilled underneath it. It's drilled at the back bottom. So the back side bottom is where my tank is drilled, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it has 2 glass corner overflows. The water comes down, so it's a full suction. And when I first set it up, I was getting that gargling. I mean, it was loud. I could hear it all the way in my bedroom.
Yep.
So because I have a DC pump, as well as I put 2 gate valves on my returns.
Yep.
I was able to dial it in, and now it's silent. So without her having now I know her wear is adjustable.
Yep.
But I still feel without her being able to tune that pump, it's still going to make some kind of noise because she can't tune it the way that she will want it all the way, you know.
And I agree with that, except that I have a Durso standpipe, right? My 120 is a single pipe and a single return, right? And I have at the top of my Durso, there's a hole drilled and there's a cap. So there's a cap on it and a hole drilled through both pipes, right? So
she has a hole on hers.
Right. And so if I go, you know what, you guys are here and it wouldn't be, pressuring her because I understand where your frustration comes from. So I'm going to show you guys mine. And I bet you we're all going to come into agreement here in just a moment. So go ahead and chat amongst yourselves. I got to go dial back into the phone.
Oh, okay.
And I will show you mine.
I was just taking a break from my hair.
So give me a sec. I'm going to bring a smoke with me too. We'll see if I can put ashes in my tank. That's always fun.
Cool.
No, I'm kidding. I'm so cautious of that. It's something funny. A friend of mine looked at me and goes, "You got a cigarette in your mouth?" I said, "Yeah, but I already ashed it. It's good. No better." No, I don't even put my face over the tank with a cigarette in my mouth ever.
Yeah, I have a tendency to when I built my 75, I just have a tendency to put those gate valves on the return. I
couldn't get one here for my 20. I am putting one on because then I can dial it right in. But I'll show you my 20 too, because you guys can see it. I can turn the lights on. I just can't turn the internals on. I just tend not to do that. But light on the outside of the tank, I'll let you see what I'm talking about. But I'll show you mine. My Durso here in a second. I'll be right back. All right.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
I have gate valves everywhere, man. I have gate valves on my overflows. Yeah, on that 125, I have to tune in the overflow and the pump.
Just from hearing you guys talk about it, it makes sense. Like you want to be able to tune that to make it be silent.
Yeah, if I didn't tune like on my 125, my pumps run at 60%. And I had to tune in the overflow because I have gate valves on the overflow just a little bit to get the water just right so it wouldn't gurgle. But if I go any higher with the pump, then I have to tune it again. Anytime you mess with your pump on my tank, anytime I mess with my pump on my tank, I have to tune in the overflows because it's more water.
Exactly. It's the pressure of the water, right? Yeah. Right. Like it makes sense to me. Yeah.
So
I don't know. I'm still not touching the sump scenario though. Not touching it.
To be honest with you, a lot of people love the sump. Me personally, I wish I would have stayed with my canister. I had more success. I didn't have a problem with the canister. I think that the sump is more for people who want to hide all their shit. I didn't really care about hiding the shit. I didn't care about that people saw, all that other stuff. I didn't care. It's my tank. It's in my house. If I wasn't worried about seeing it, why would anybody else worry about seeing it?
Exactly. We're going to wait 10 minutes. I forgot the phone died. I forgot to plug it in while I was running it.
Oh.
Take about 5-10 minutes. It's on a quick charger, so it only takes about 10 minutes to get enough boost there to actually show it. So we'll quibble.
I feel like having a sump for me is way more work than it was when I just had a canister filter.
You know what? As long as you clean out a canister filter on a regular basis, like you kind of get a feel for when it's really dirty, it's fine. I ran one. It was great.
Mad Dog runs a canister on his. When I first started, I had a 55 gallon and I had a canister on it. And then when I upgraded to 55 to a 75, everybody's like, do the sump, blah, blah, blah. So listening to other people, I did the sump and I've hated the sump ever since. I cannot stand sumps, to be honest with you. I really don't like them.
Well, and doesn't it have like a chance of like overflowing?
Not if
Mine has overflowed.
Yeah, they can. Usually it's a combination of events, though. It's not just that your power shut off, but your ATO kept going. There's a possibility there.
That what it was is I had the ATO and I was using sump socks, and I kept wondering why I had to always fill up my ATO so quick, right? So one day I was just like looking, and I'm like, what is that water? What was going on is my sump socks were overfilling. And the water was pouring out from my sump socks onto the bottom part of the stand. So it was making the auto top off keep running. So so I got rid of the sump socks. Well, I didn't get rid of it, but I took them off. And then because on my 75, I have two overflow pipes that go down. So what I did was I said, you know what, I do like the socks. So what I'll do is I'll run one sock on one pump on one stand, and then the other one won't have one. Right. So that's how I fixed that issue, because
you gave yourself an emergency.
Exactly, because I'm lazy, and I might skip cleaning the sump socks that 1 week, and it should be piled up. So
there you go. Yep. That works. I admit I'm lazy, and I'm fully confident in it.
Hey, I tell everybody I have Lars. It's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my fish are fat and happy. That's all I'm worried about. I'm a fish person. I'm just not getting into coral. So my fish are fat and healthy, and that's all I'll be worried about.
Yeah. Well, mine proves that. If you watch my video over there, even in the opening, you can see my fox face there. Look how fat and happy that bloody fish is.
Yeah.
I love my fish. Well, I just have freshwater fish right now, but like the fish are the reason why I got into the hobby in the first place, like just Aquarius, because they all have their own personalities. And I have this one little gold barb, okay? He's the fattest little fucker I've ever seen in my life. Like he's not even supposed to look like that. And he's so big. Like he might just blow up one day.
I had a conch this morning that if I ball up my fist, his shell was as big as my fist. But then when I passed my tank this morning, I saw my crab was eating it, but I have a big crab. I have a couple big ass crabs though, like big like golf ball. Like they're thin striped crabs, so they get pretty big. So I saw him. I don't know if the conch must have died, because I've had them two in there for the longest. So the only thing I could think of is that conch died, and they were over there. They smelled his death and was over there eating them, because the conch is big. The conch can kick him with his little foot. So that's how he doesn't like slither across the sand. They jump across the sand. I used to hear him knocking against my glass at nighttime. So my conch got ate. I've got to get another one. Circle of life.
Bubba's telling me to ask you about King Kong.
Oh, King Kong is the king of the 125, man. He's my big old starry blenny. He's as long. He's about 5 inches, maybe 5-6 inches long. He's big.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, they got that big.
Yeah, man. I've seen him. I had a starry blenny before. I called him the Godfather in my 55 gallon. I got all kind of names, y'all. I name him because of the personality of the fish. The Godfather was a killer. He killed a couple of fish in the tank, and he used to mark his territory. So he was just, that's what he was. So King Kong, I saw him at the LFS, and I didn't think they got that big. And I was like, I gotta have him. And I paid $60 for him. But he's big. So yeah. I put pictures of I got videos actually of King Kong and pictures on GroupMe King Kong. Yeah, Bubba says this biggest starry blenny he ever seen. He is big. Big chunky.
There we go. You guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So sorry about it being dark here, but I'll basically got it up enough so I can plug it in over here. So give me a sec here. Hopefully I don't cause a catastrophe doing this. All right. So there's my pipe. Well, it's not enough light. And of course I hooked up something. There we go. All right. There we go. You see the light okay now? Does it look a little better?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So there's the top of my pipe. Okay. And this is what I use to tune. And if you look, see the hole?
Right.
Right. So that goes through this cap and then that pipe. And I can turn this to adjust the amount of airflow to cut for my siphon. So down in my actual sump, okay, there's as straight as it's going to get, right?
Right.
Her problem is to boot, hers goes all the way over to this side and down.
Yeah.
Right. So that's part of it. So it does need to be tuned, right? So it'll help that. And my skimmer's freaking out again for some reason. All right. Anyway, so all she really needs to do is we'll hopefully try tuning it. And then her, if you look at mine, see how that's as calm as I can make it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When it was surging, if you look at the space I have, I can't overflow this tank. Even if it went nuts, it won't overflow. It'll just go over into here. If you look at the water level, I got tons
of
space, right? So, that's really what it comes down to for her, is that she's got to try that first, because that's just an Eco 2000 compact Eheim, right? And I can't afford to have that run dry because look, heaters. So eventually I'm going to have good heaters in here. So, but right now I'm cheap. So I'm going to show you.
I like the Eheim heaters. I have one. They're good. I've never had one fail on me yet.
Well, the only problem I have with them is the 2 degree variance plus minus is a little too much. They do that. So, but it's not that serious. Trust me. So the other way that most of us go is into this kind of overflow, which is kind of similar to Death Mage's, but mine's a full-on Herbie. So if you look here, the right side
my
is the
75 is like that a little bit.
And then that's the emergency.
Right.
Right? So down in here, and this skimmer's full. Geez, I'm getting lazy. So there's the gate ball valve. See it?
There it is. Yep. That's how mine is set up.
The sock. And then if you look, the emergency is always running a little. But if it were to full on go, this would make a butt ton of noise.
Right.
So.
Yeah, mine's is set up like that one right there with the gate valve on the overflow pipes.
Yep. So there we go. All right. So I'm going to shut this phone off and let it charge.
All right.
What's up, Kevin? Kevin E&H Vlogs.
Kevin's here.
Yeah, he's in the chat.
What's up, buddy? Probably late night with that baby, huh?
Maybe. Kevin's a later too, so even without the baby, he stays up late.
There we go. There we go. So, hey, Kevin. So, do you see what I'm talking about? Like, I think I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, Billy Pipes came in at the last minute and told her that as well, that her pump might be too strong, so she needs to tune her overflow because she doesn't have a gate valve on the pump, and hopefully that will work. If not,
then she's got
to have to end up. Yeah, she's gonna have to end up replumbing that return.
Either that or getting a much more controllable pump.
Well,
yeah.
O said if nothing works, he was going to send her a Jabo DC pump, which I
Good.
think better
That'll work. Nope, that would do it. And on a 75, she'd only need what, a 3,000.
Yeah, I don't know which one he's sending her, but it's one that will work for her. He said.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So it's going to be one or the other. But you know what? She'll still have to tune it because of the way the siphon is, right? So.
Right. But I think it'll be easier.
It could be.
You know, because she won't have to worry about putting the gate valve on and everything, and she can just do the DC and then tune the overflow pipe stand, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll get her. We'll get her.
She's gonna have to have a little more patience.
She does, and she's got to understand everyone has the best of intentions too, and she does.
Yeah. So she got to have a little more patience because this Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was the tank. So
go ahead, Pat.
Does anybody know what her overflow is rated for?
I'd have to look it up. She had said the model of the tank, and I missed it because I was going to try and look that up too and see if it's like a really low one. I have seen that.
Billy Pipes knew what it was because he said, yeah, he said that particular tank that she has is rated for a very low flow rate. And he said some tanks are just like that. He said that's why you add the circulation pumps inside. He said you just want to have enough to get it over into the tank to fill the tank, you know, for the return. But that's why you have your circulation pumps on the inside.
Yeah.
You know, but he knew exactly what the flow rate was supposed to be. And I think they were talking about how far can she turn down the return pump that she has. And I think it was like either 500 or something. And he's like, it's got to be lower.
Yeah. Hers was probably rated for like 450, and that's a 650 gallon per day return pump, I think.
Yeah, per hour.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff's back.
Yeah, per hour. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's like I was going to go with the DCS 6000 for the 120 there, and then I realized, well, that Eheim Eco 2000 is only rated for, was it 526 gallons per hour or something? And I went, and I got to turn it down. And I went, ooh, I couldn't do that because I'd wind up with the same problem. I'd have huge gurgling problems trying to control that, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to end up with the same return pump on that one as I do on my 20. My 20's got a DCP 3000. I'm going to put the same one in there because I can crank it up and get it right to the right level, but still only be using about 3/4 of the pump's power.
See, that's why I wanted a DC pump, because I didn't want to have to worry about head pressure with a gate valve. And then I'll just tune it, put the gate valves on the overflow pipes. And then I'll just tune it in on the DC side with the return. So it's just easier that way.
No, it's definitely look at Jeff.
That's a really nice. Yeah, that's a really nice tank, Jeff.
Jeff's got a gorgeous tank. Yeah, that's a Red Sea Reefer 175 gallon. I think that's a 250, as I recall. I think
it's a 650.
There we go. Yeah, that's right. 650 Peninsula. Yeah. Nice tank.
Yeah, like so pretty.
Oh, good night, American Reefing.
Yeah, night, Jeff. Again.
So many Jeffs in this hobby.
Hey, I only know one Jeff. That's Daily Reefing. I always tell him that because his name was Jeff on his channel, and then he changed it to Daily Reefing. I was like, I already know. Yes, Jeff. So I'm just gonna call you Jeff. You're the only Jeff I know. Everybody else is by whatever their YouTube channel is.
Yeah, there you go. That sucks, Kevin. I actually cracked the 20 that I run. It's at the top, so I'm concerned, but not overtly. But it is getting replaced because it's not if, it's when it blows out. So I'm just not going to bother. But a 20 doesn't hold as much pressure against it. So, but, you know, a 5 gallon, that's awful thin glass, right? So.
Hey, the $1 per gallon sale is back.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I got an email about it.
We don't have nothing like that in Canada. $1 per gallon.
Nope, they do not. No.
No.
Well, y'all need to come on and cross over to the border, do your shopping, and go on back over across to Canada.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
They do that. They literally, where I live, they'll have, they call them Portland parties. So they basically get together, or banger parties over in Maine, and they'll travel 5-6 ladies will all head down, go to Portland, Maine or Bangor, Maine, and or Bangor. Sorry,
that don't sound right. Banger parties.
I know phrasing.
If somebody said I'm going to a banger party, I'm like, what?
Yeah, what's a banger party? Not what you're thinking.
Excuse me? No, ma'am. Yeah.
But, we'll just say shopping party. There we go.
Yeah, shopping party.
And that's what they do, right? And I understand that, right? But there's no in Bangor there is a Petco, I do believe, but in Portland there isn't. So every time it's been on, they've always been going to the opposite city. So I could never get them to pick me up a 40-gallon breeder and bring it back. Plus, that's asking a lot to put a big tank like that in your vehicle. It's not that big, but when you're, got a bunch of ladies shopping, they're going to be filling that van up quick.
Yeah.
So. But it's like, come on, don't you love me? You can pile it in the tank. Just don't put anything hard, glass on glass or anything. It'll be fine. Yeah. No. I'll see if I help you when your computer breaks down again, huh?
Is that a lagoon style tank? That is
Peninsula.
It's a peninsula.
Yeah, here. Hold on. Oh. I click on YouTube to present. That's not going to work. There we go. Yeah, there's Jeff's beauty. And that wonderful Naso tank of his.
Is that his toe in the bottom corner? He's just chilling, eh? Chilling.
Oh, now he gonna hide.
He moved his foot. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yes, your toe has offended me, Jeff.
It was flipping us off.
Off with his toe. Yeah. Nope, look at that. Nice view.
Such a nice tank. Like,
hey, look at the tank is getting clean. Clean me.
No, we lost our filamentous wrasse. I don't know if anybody heard that. A few people I know. When I was doing the Billy Pipes A-can feeding method, she jumped on me and I didn't see it, and didn't notice for a couple of days that the red fish wasn't in the picture. And I found her in the back of the tank, all dried up. Bummer.
Oh, I know. Every time my fish jump, because I'll be looking at the tank. I'll be looking for them every time I come home. Like, okay, let's see who's all in the tank still.
Yeah, I was a little distracted the last couple of weeks, so I didn't notice at first. And so I told her, I said, well, what do you want? She wants a Melanoris. I said, okay. Or no, she wants this. No. Oh, okay. Well, she does want a mystery wrasse, but those are not cheap fish. No. And then she came home with the new one. She wants a NACO's wrasse. Go look a NACO, NACO wrasse. Yeah, go look it up. That is not a cheap fish.
NACO wrasse. There's a wrasse that I saw that I wanted from Ware Aquatic Saltwater. Oh my God, it's so pretty.
Yeah, wrasses are some of the prettiest fish, that's for sure, right? So.
Yeah. I love the union, how the wrasses just do that, like how they clean the fish. I love it.
The symbiotic relationship, you mean?
Yeah.
That's why I like my pistol and gobies.
The NACO's wrasse? That's not that expensive.
How much is it in the States?
I'm seeing one on sale right now for $89.
Yeah, Canada, you're talking $250 to $375.
What? Yeah. Never mind.
Mystery wrasse, about the same, give or take. Yeah. Some fish up here are super cheap, and some of them are just dear as deer can be, right? So
that's weird. You guys are like right there.
Yep. Welcome to different border controls and duties and taxes, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit of a bummer.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. But and she can pick it. It's her fish. That I love how it's supposedly the 20 is her tank, and the 120 is mine. It does not work out like that.
You want the big tank, huh?
Yeah, she always both tanks. So no. And it's like no. So, but I had a good suggestion there. I got the new Bengay Cardinal into the 20, and a blue tuxedo urchin who's only the size of the end of my thumb. He's just the cutest little thing. And that's to help with the algae. And what I want him to do is grow in my 20, and then I'm going to put him into the 120 so he can scrub down that purple coralline for me, or not purple, but it's like maroon red, whatever, the invasive coralline I have. And then, you know, I like a fish with a job. Because that way they're helping. They're not just pooping. You know what I mean? So,
right.
You know, that kind of thing. So she's really kind of in with.
He cut out, or
You still there? Oh, okay.
Well, none of my fish have jobs because they're all lazy as fuck.
Yeah, no kidding. I got a few that you're looking at them going, why aren't you doing your job? And he's looking at you because you feed me, idiot.
Yeah, that's my fish. I feed them, and I just like.
I
like fish with personalities, so. I got a lot of clowns in my tanks.
Yeah. I'm going to show everybody tomorrow if I can get a stream on. We got enough people on again. I can't stick my hand into the 20 without those two clowns attacking me, and I mean going at it.
This is what you do. Yeah. You ball up your finger. When they get close, bam.
Yeah. You've been knocked out. Yeah. My wife would get mad at me. Like that. Am I trying to catch them?
She won't know. She won't know.
No, that work, eh? You know, when you're not home, honey, I take them out of the tank and slap them around, right? You know. Yeah. All right. Well, it's been it's been swell, but the swelling's gone down, so it's time to go.
It was a nice stream tonight, guys. Thank you.
It's good. I enjoyed it.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah. Good night, guys.
Good night.
I will see you all tomorrow for sure. And I'll make that video, and hopefully that'll help Tina a little bit, and we can get her straightened out and less stressed out about it.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.